Anyway, just wanted to tell you that personally, and we are live at the end of that sentence. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 27 of the Deadhead podcast. We are so happy to be back and to be talking about something that we're super passionate about in a series that we're passionate about, and it feels good to be here. So, how's it going, Jan?
Oh, I'm doing great. Summer has officially started. Final Fantasy 16 came out. I couldn't be happier. That's a killer combo right there. What about you?
Oh yeah, no, it's been good. I think we've definitely put a good bit of time into it at this point
All right.
to give some real clear cutout thoughts. We're not only like a couple hours in. I think I'm 21 hours into the game, and I think I'm at 48% as well. If I want to trust my PlayStation completion time, then I would say
Right.
like 48%, something like that. And I think you're about the same, right? Maybe a little bit more, 51,
Yeah,
52,
yeah. My PlayStation says I'm 55% with a bit
55.
like 25 hours clocked in.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I was looking through your so I sometimes I stalk Jan's PlayStation account, and I'd seen that, in his trophy list, he's gotten a few more trophies than me that are farther in the story. So I know you're a little bit farther than me. Not much, but a little bit more farther in the story. So I got to be a little careful with you in some areas, but
I mean, I
uh
gotta be careful not to spoil you, but
oh no, yeah, no, it's like
mhm.
for instance, like I know that eventually you'll get the Titan, you know, bear,
Yes,
you'll
of
get a little
course.
bit of I do
Mm.
not have the Titan stuff yet. I have not gotten to that point yet. The last thing I
All
was
right.
doing was some hunts and things like that. So I'm not even up to that point. So
So
um
just to have like just to have some sort of
yeah.
groundwork. Have you got to the second crystal? I don't know what I
Yeah,
know you
yeah,
know what I'm
this
talking
yeah,
about.
the second mother crystal. Yeah,
Okay.
I've already done that.
All
Yep.
right. Okay. Good. Then I
Yep.
know.
Yep.
I know where you are at.
I am. Yeah, I am past that, and yeah, haven't looked back, man. It's been a wild ride, and I have a lot to say with it. So, Jan, I was gonna do something a little different. See how you feel about it. I don't mean to
Oh.
put you on the spot, but usually I let you go first with your thoughts. Would you like me to go first this time? Give you a little bit of a
Oh yeah.
rest.
Sure. Let's have some reverse rolls.
I
Let's
know
do it.
that's usually, we usually let you go first, but I figure we change it up on you a little bit.
Yeah. Sure. For once, ladies first. Feel free.
Okay. All right. Would that be? I'm just gonna log off then. You freaking asshole. Yeah, you
Come on.
freaking
I'm
you
playing.
you piece of shit bearer. You freaking you bearer. You
Oh
say yeah.
man, such a nerd.
Anyway. So yeah, I guess really we won't really have too many introductions, man. Look, thank you guys for coming to the show, and we appreciate you being here as always. If there's anybody who's watching this live, you can obviously join in the conversation. And you can always watch us live back. We have it on our YouTube channel, Deadhead96, and also be on our Facebook fan page. And we're streaming live to Twitch. So, hi, everybody on Twitch. And eventually, this episode will be on Apple Podcasts. So, if you're wherever you're watching or listening to this, thank you. We appreciate it. And with that being said, let's get into some Final Fantasy 16 because I've been dying to talk about it with Jan. I've been trying to. We've
Hell
kind of
yes.
we've kind of communicated back and forth about some things, but we haven't really gone too far into it, which is good. So I don't really know how Jan's feeling about it, and I don't think he knows much about how I am. I've seen some gameplay that you've posted. I know you've seen some gameplay I've posted, but that's gameplay. How do we feel about the game? So with that being said, I'll go first this time. I'll give Jan a break. So obviously, let's just get introductions out. We'll get our introduction, and we'll go a little bit farther into some story stuff and all that. From just an overall standpoint, I'm enjoying the product. I am. I'm really, really enjoying it. It's here's the thing. I see some people, right, and I've watched some podcasts on this, like podcast episodes, like IGN has a little like podcast that they branch off of, and there's a couple of them like through Game Ranks and other big YouTube gaming channels where they've had podcasts talking about this game. And what's really surprised me, and something I wanted to talk to you about specifically, Jan, is the fact of like, so going into Final Fantasy 16, I knew this game wasn't going to be an RPG in the way that we're used to when it comes to the Final Fantasy genre, right? Like with the different like thinking about Final Fantasy 7 remake with the materia, right? Or like the different pieces of metals and different equipment pieces you could add to certain RPGs. I knew going into this one, this was going to be more of an action centered game. So I was fine with from the jump, like everything, the combat system, everything being real time and everything in between. I was fine with it. What I found surprising was that a lot of people on like certain talk shows and podcasts, things like that, they were actually criticizing 16 for not having more RPG elements. And I'm a little surprised by that because they specifically marketed this game to be a game that, and then they kind of did this with 15, right? But more importantly for this one, where it's kind of like this is a game that first time Final Fantasy, anybody who hasn't played Final Fantasy game before, they can come back and play. They can play this game, and they don't need to play the other ones to be like.
Well, yeah, 15 had that kind of campaign.
Yeah,
I remember.
Right.
Every time you boot up the game, it says, Final Fantasy for newcomers and fans alike.
Yeah,
something like that. I think.
Yeah, but I would say more so. Yeah, and I agree, and it is right. It's a pretty easy game to get into, and it's obviously not like super difficult or anything like that. But with this game, like it definitely has a lot of accessibility options, and that's not really a bad thing. But anyway, I'm just really surprised that more people didn't think that this was more of an action game as opposed to an RPG. My thoughts on it, I knew what I was getting into. The only thing I was that I've been bummed about, the customization and things of that nature, just some of the different things that you can do. I mean, there's obviously a lot of battle systems that you can do and implement different move sets and all that. But I was only let down about the customization. But I knew going into it overall, it was an RPG game.
You mean like aesthetically?
Yeah, aesthetically, but I knew like 7, like if you think about like, I don't mean to go back to 7 remake a lot, but I mean, that's what most recently came out.
That's the golden standard for modern ones.
And, and like, so it's not like you could customize what Cloud looked like, what Tifa or Barrett. I mean, you could change their like weapons, like, and I think they had so many different like gloves for Tifa and staffs for Aerith, and then like the turrets for Barrett. Like there was a couple different things, and of course Cloud, right? There's like several different Buster swords. Obviously, they're not Busters, but it's a lot of them that are reminiscent of that original Buster sword. And there's not a whole lot in the way of customization in this game when it comes to different spells. There's not status effects. There's nothing like that. You know what I mean? But I knew going into it, this was not going to have that. So I'm kind of looking at it from somebody who pays the fuck attention to what these developers said, because that's what they literally said. They brought in the guy from Devil May Cry, which anyway, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
My overall thoughts here is that I'm enjoying the game. I think the set pieces are really awesome. What I find though is that this game has super, super highs, and then when it settles out, the lows can be kind of lows, like some of the set pieces are just out of this world. And then you go back and you're doing like errands for
chores.
And it's really it's kind of jarring at times. But all in all, man, I think that the combat is super fun when you can, like, I saw your video that you posted on the Deadhead podcast.
My little
Instagram.
combo.
Yeah, dude, it was that looked really awesome. And that's what this game does. Like everything looks so beautiful. Like when you're doing the like combat, it looks like it's ripped straight out of an anime. Some of the things you can do in this game are really nuts. Like it's crazy. But I understand where people are coming from. Another thing that I want to kind of add to my intro, and I'm not trying to, I know we're going to get into more specifics, but there's some people saying about like a party system, right? Like most Final Fantasy games, you have like a party, even Final Fantasy 15, right? Nobody likes that game, it seems like, but at least it had a party system. It had that where you can sort of somewhat, you can make the other people in the party do certain abilities and things like that.
Later on with updates, you could customize it even more, I feel. Yeah,
that's right. But I think a lot of people like criticize it because you couldn't do that from the jump. You couldn't do that as soon as the game came out. So, and I think that while that is missed in this game, I don't miss it as much because Clive can do so many things that I was pretty much doing everything that I would want my party members to do. So all in all, man, I like it. I like where it's going. The story is top. It's great so far. It's a little crazy, especially when you get to the more political stuff. It's kind of hard to keep up because you have so many characters. So even me, like, I'm having to go back to it's a person in your camp, the hideaway, who can give you
the guy
tips and everything. Tips, my bad, but go give you more story stuff, and that way you can understand. I have to go to him constantly just to kind of
the lore guy,
just to understand, what all is going on, because it reminds me of Final Fantasy 12 in that retrospect. If you remember, like with Rabanester and all that stuff, like it's so deep and rich with lore, man. So it's a little bit hard to follow, but What were we gonna
Tons
say?
of political conflict.
Oh
It's
yeah,
incredible. It's
yeah.
just
It's a lot. So anyway, I'll kind of cut myself short here, and we'll get into specifics after you give yours. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm halfway through, and it's a good time. And just like we talked about in our last episode, Jan, like this wasn't a Final Fantasy game I was super excited about. Like I was gonna buy it day one, but I wasn't like super excited for it. But I really do like it. Haven't got too much fatigue. I haven't gotten too much fatigue. Now I did play it the first day it came out. I played it for like 8 hours straight as soon as it came out because I took the day off. So I played, 8 hours straight. I played it for like 4 hours, then I took like a hour-long break, and then I went right back to it. So essentially 8 hours. So I think that after playing it that day, I was a little like burned out, but the very next day I picked it back up and I haven't looked back. So yeah, it's a decent experience. I got some things here and there, but we'll get more into that with the specifics. But I like it so far. What's your deal?
well, I'm glad you like it because I'm actually enjoying it a lot too. It's the story is actually what surprised me the most because with Final Fantasy games, I feel like they have like great premises, right? And like the first hours of the story is great, like I'm hooked, and then sometimes it falls short. This doesn't go for all Final Fantasy games, but most of them. 12 was like that. 13 was definitely like that. Like you start with this great premise, fantastic open cinematic, right?
Yeah.
It shows you a lot of like this great lore, very very original too, right? And then something happens and the story just starts dragging down. But as you said, this one is not like that. It just keeps having a lot of highs. It has so many highs actually that, as you said, the lows. I feel the same way. The lows are just very hard to go through. Mostly because I feel like the quality of the cutscenes really takes a hit. You can totally tell when it comes to from pre-rendered cutscenes to just just puppets standing around doing like pre-made motions like that.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting back in my chair and just fucking barely struggling to keep my attention span on these things. And then what's even worse, it's during these moments when the game starts giving you side quests. So like, oh shit, now I gotta do the side quests too, right? I mean, you don't gotta do them, but of course, right? If you want to have better gear, if you want to be decently leveled up for the next big set piece, you gotta prep. So I do feel that, but the story's fantastic. I mean, as I said, I'm halfway through and I'm invested. It's it never lets down. The mystery is intriguing. The initial mystery of who killed Joshua, and then we figure out that Joshua is not actually, and we figure out that Clive is the guy who killed Joshua. Maybe, perhaps, it's still not 100% clear on that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I called. By the way, I called it. By the way, like when the first initial stages were coming, and you and like. And I'll let you keep going, but like we'll talk more about Clive as a character in a little bit. But when Clive's like, "Stop it! I'll fucking kill you," and he's like, you feel like he's screaming at a freed. I'm sitting here like, what if that's just him this whole time? Because they're not showing Clive. But I think there's more to it. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. That was
no, you're right.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was not expecting it, but looking back, I should have. Not because of what you said. I mean, you're a bit more introspective than me, insightful. I mean, than me. But the marketing kind of gives it away, like a lot. Like it kind of shows up. Like in every trailer, you have him summoning you freed. It kind of gives it away.
Yeah.
But I was not. No, I'm intrigued because what I was afraid of is that they're gonna do this one great plot twist, and then the mystery is gonna be resolved, and then the story is gonna be boring from then on. But it's actually not because they left it with some unanswered questions. Besides that, yes, a lot of political intrigue, like a lot of cutscenes, very long cutscenes. I'm talking Metal Gear Solid 4 levels of length when it comes to cutscenes. Like when I beat like a high end boss, I know I can sit back, put the controller down, and I'll be there for like half an hour, and I don't mind at all because it's great. Another thing that I very much like, talking about the story, then I'll stop, is the fact that you can press the touchpad to get a little lore map. I appreciate that so much because one of my biggest gripes with 15 was I never had any clue what the hell was going on. It was impossible. Like I know you should have watched like a movie before playing it, and then like a 4-episode anime series like that. That's bullshit. First off, and second off, I did watch them and I still did not understand anything. So That's correct. But here is great, even during cutscenes or during gameplay. You can just, stop, have a mental map. Anytime someone, it happened to me a lot of times, someone would mention a character that I could tell is someone that I'm supposed to know who he is. As soon as it's mentioned, he starts appearing on that map. And I'm like, so all I have to do is just read up about him. I love that. I absolutely love that. Also, when it's the greatest invention of all time. Honestly, just for that, this game is in my top 5 Final Fantasy games. Just for this one, like I'm telling you, it makes that much of a difference. Me not having to, look back, go on a fucking Reddit post about, okay, who the fuck is Lord MacGyver or whatever. So that's about the story. I'm loving the characters. The characters are great. They're not too animal-like. They're pretty grounded. Actually, the entire game, all the cutscenes kind of play like a Game of Thrones episode, honestly. With a whole fantasy politics playing a role. About the gameplay, yes, you did mention how people don't like the fact there are not many RPG elements. I saw a post that said that God of War Ragnarok has more RPG elements than FF16. First off, I'm gonna blame the fact that every single game, every modern game lately has been RPG-fied. Like very few games nowadays, AAA games, don't have some sort of RPG element, some sort of, customizable weapon or upgrades.
Yeah.
So I think there's a little bit fault in that. And second off, as I said, this is a bit different. I mean, I think we stopped caring, like the whole, this is not Final Fantasy. That whole discourse kind of ended with 11 being an MMORPG, 12 being more of a fucking tactical game than than a classic turn-based RPG. 13 being a beast on its own, and 15 also being, as we discussed, more action-oriented as well. And I think that 16 to me is what 15 could have been if it had a little more time in the oven. I absolutely love it. As you said, I did show the video where I did a little combo, nothing special, but that's what I wanted to underline, is that how much you can chain every single ability. You get not as many abilities in other RPGs, but you still get a few. Like, with every icon, you get at least 4, and you get a pretty sizable amount of abilities. You get to like over 10, and each one of them can be chained in a very unique kind of way. And that's what I love. What I'm afraid of with these action RPGs is that what ends up happening is that you find one combo that really suits you, and then that's it. That's what you use throughout the entire game. But here I keep finding out more stuff that either game doesn't tell you, or it does tell you. Like when you go to an ability, in the ability section, you press triangle, it gives you all the little a rundown, all the possible techniques you can use, and there you can learn about a lot of different stuff. And I'm absolutely in love with how much stuff I can figure out. Like, I did not know then you can make a little explosion with triangle after every strike with square. I didn't know that. I didn't know that you can keep going. You can make square triangle. As long as you have your timing right, you can keep doing it. Then I found out that if you order Thorgal to attack an enemy at the same time that you make a strike with square, he'll make a powered up version of that attack you order him to do. And you can really get very creative. I mean, it's insane. Make a jump, make a combo in midair, do the lunge attack, the plunging attack, hold square to charge the blade, do the blazing rod attack. It's incredible. And that is just the basic skills. Then the special skills that go on cooldown play a part, and it's a miracle.
There's one icon ability I like that. Like I still find myself using. And again, not to cut you off from your introduction, but just while I'm thinking about it. But like that ability is. So I still use the Phoenix abilities a lot. And there's one. It's like I think it's called a flare, where essentially like it's a pretty powerful icon ability where like you'll see your wings come out of your back and you float in the air for a second and all these fireballs start coming out and hitting everybody. And it's like, it's that move literally, if you're getting swarmed, will pretty much kill everybody. And you feel so powerful when you do it. Like
and that heals too.
Yeah.
So that was great.
Yeah. So
I'm kind of conflicted about those abilities because they look great and they're super strong and super useful. But unlike any other abilities, you cannot really change them a lot. They're mostly like combo enders, right? Or you do them in a pinch, as you said. So I did unlock the Phoenix one, and I do use it regularly, mostly as a last resort. But I did not unlock the ultimate, whatever we're gonna call them, for Ramu or Garuda.
Oh, yeah,
Because
Garuda. Yeah, Garuda's fun, man. I like Garuda's one where it's like a you put everybody into like a tornado and you start seeing enemies fly up in tornado. And what I do is I'm sorry, I'm messing with your introduction, but one thing,
no, just go ahead.
I got a couple videos of it, and I think I've posted one where like I was like just left, right, and I was killing everybody, and I was getting swarmed by like 15 guys. And then I used Garuda's special ability where I zapped everybody inside of a tornado, and you see all the enemies spinning around. And then I switched to my Phoenix and was just shooting fireballs at them. And it was so like so they're up in the air, and I'm shooting with fire, and I felt so powerful there, man.
Okay, that is fun. Okay, maybe awesome. I'm a bit too skeptical. Maybe I should give it a chance.
I think you should give it a chance, man. I think you should.
The thing is,
it's awesome.
The thing is, there's so many abilities. It's really hard. Like I'm still trying, right? I'm still the experimental stage. I still haven't tried everything, and I'm like 25 hours in, halfway through the main campaign. I think that's great. I think that like whenever I'm going to replay, start from scratch, I'm going to have a lot of different builds that I can build toward, right? So that's fun. I myself, I mostly really like upgrading abilities that I already have.
Yeah.
And see, it really changes a lot, right? Like the plunging attack, if you upgrade it, it becomes flaming hot. There's a shit ton of damage, knocks enemies back, and after that, you can make a thrust, a forward thrust, which is kind of like the Sonic thrust.
Yeah,
it's crazy, and I think I said everything. Oh yeah, about the party members. Honestly, what happened to me is that I was having so much fun with the game, right? And at some point, about 10 hours in, I realized, shit, this game does not have, other party members, doesn't have a party system. I hadn't realized that because I was having so much fun finding out other different ways to play as with Clive that I didn't even think about the other party members. And I think that speaks for itself, right? Yeah. I think a game that has one character that is so in depth, has so much depth to it, doesn't need more party members. It's just that kind of game.
Yeah, I agree. So all in all, so you're enjoying this game.
Oh, I'm enjoying it. Oh yeah. I mean, I have some gripes. We'll come to that.
Yeah.
We'll go to that.
So to get back to the and again we can garner the conversation if you have something specific you want to talk about. But so the party system. So that's in your eyes because the combat is so fun to you. You haven't really missed the party system at all. So you got pretty far into a game and you're like, wait a minute, there's no party system, and you're like, okay, whatever. That's kind of how you've been.
Yeah, because when 15, you kind of feel the void of the party system leaves, because Noxus's combat moveset is kind of bare bones, right? You keep holding the mash, you keep holding the attack button to attack, and then you hold the defense button to defend, and sometimes you order your allies to attack. Well, this one, you're focused all the time, like 100%. You're locked in. You're thinking of what to do. I'm still very clumsy. I'm still, sometimes an enemy is launching a projectile at me, so I want to use the Phoenix attack that can counter projectiles. But I'm fumbling through all the different icons, so I'm still learning, right? The game literally does not give you time to think, to micromanage other party members. If you don't count Thorgal. I think Thorgal is more of an extension of Clive. If you think about it.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I think that that the party system is kind of, for me, it is missed a little bit. Like I would like to do a little bit more with it. I think that would just make the combat even more diverse, right? Like, because for you, like, you feel the combat. So what I'm understanding from you is that you don't have any issues with the combat. You think the combat is pretty damn good, right? Pretty good. Maybe not the best. So let me ask you this: do you prefer this, or do you prefer the combat in 7 remake? What do you think?
Okay, so
there's no wrong answers here. Like if you think this is better, that's fine. That's cool.
Okay, so I haven't played this as much as 7 remake, so I might be biased. So for now, I think my safest bet is go for the 7 remakes combat.
Mhm.
It just has, it does have, it's a little more in depth, right? You can do a bit more stuff. Not as much as, see, then again, I don't know. Because there you can micromanage your party a little bit. You got to be more careful about your ATB bar, shit like that. Here, and I'm afraid that on the long term run, this combat system is a bit too easy. It's a bit too easy to exploit it. I mean, even bosses. I mean, it's kind of all you're like a dodge away from fucking overwhelming them. Even if though they cannot be staggered or anything, you just have some hits in, dodge. By the way, dodging is way too easy in this game. Like perfect dodging, I mean. Like the clear window, the attacks are so telegraphed, and the window of that the game gives you, the leniency of the perfect dodge is so extended, so
it's
large.
so extended, yeah.
Like you get perfect dodges, like there's no tomorrow, honestly.
Yeah, I got
And
this
you get
one.
so much
I got
from
this.
them.
I got this one. Like I didn't know. I'm sure you already have it. I mean, you're a little bit farther than me, but so I don't have any of those. You get like 4, and correct me, I can't remember what they're called, but I got 4 accessories. Like if you play on the easiest mode in the game,
baby mode accessories.
Yeah, so I don't have any of those because I'm like, bro, that's like that's not even playing the game. But I'm at a point now where I put a accessory on, and I don't remember what it is.
You mean the Berserker ring?
It might be the Berserker ring.
The one that changes your dodge?
Yeah, it does. It's weird. I was wondering like when I dodged out the way, I was like, what did this happen? Like it like threw me off because when I dodged, I slid backwards quite a bit.
Yeah.
So like I was farther away. Yeah.
And you're like I don't know what's called the powered up stance. You know,
right.
You're like in that for like 5 seconds. Is that what it is?
Yeah. It's kind of weird. Yeah. It took me a minute to get used to it, you know?
But I like the idea. I like the idea that the accessories are not just, you know, passive stat boosters, but they also give you some sort of cool perks like that.
Some of them,
yeah, some, not all of them, of course. But I'm not too. I mean, I'm glad that the baby rings exist, and I'm sorry if I'm offending anyone by calling them baby rings. They're not. I mean, I understand.
I mean, they kind of are. Let's be honest.
I mean, all right. There's some people who are not as hardcore as us, and maybe some people have some disabilities, so they cannot. I mean, I get that. It's great.
That's right.
I did not like because. Okay, what I don't like about it is that when you start a game, it gives you the option. Okay, are you gonna play on story mode or action mode? And I said, oh, this is what the rings are about, right? But no, because I chose action mode and I got the rings either way. See, that kind of has me conflicted because now I'm, you know, effectively I'm handicapping myself by not equipping these rings.
Sort of, yeah. But it's not fun. But it's not as fun, man, because I actually saw gameplay. Like, so another criticism I saw, and I'm sure you've heard some criticism as well, but another criticism I saw was it said apparently like you can beat every boss by pressing square over and over again. And while I'm not sitting here and saying that the game is like super difficult, because as of right now it's not. I've only died maybe 5 times in my 21 hours. And I'm not trying to act like I'm so great at video games, because I think I suck at video games. And I play a lot of them. But like I think I've only died like 5 times. But like for me personally, like those abilities, like I was watching people play with them, and like the windows to where you can dodge is ridiculous. Dude, speaking of windows on when you can do shit, what is up with these like cinematic strikes and cinematic dodge? Like, just say, what the hell is that? Just quick time events. That's essentially what it is. But it's not quick though. It takes forever. Like the bar. It's like, what kind of quick time event is that?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I was like 2011 again. When every single game had quick time events, like FF13 had them, or 13.2 actually. But yeah, they're I mean, whatever. My stance on them is whatever. But they're kind of ridiculous because they give you so much time, and I thought that okay, so if I do it super quick, maybe I get more damage in. But no, it's like I tried it. It's all the same. You can do it, the second they appear, and like 10 seconds later, it's all the same.
Right.
I guess maybe they thought. Okay, my only explanation is that maybe they thought that they break up the pace of the fights too much, so they wanted to have some level of interaction. And to be fair, there's not too many of them, so it's not like they're bothering anyone.
Yeah.
They're pretty innocuous. I'm just wondering why they're there. Just like
Right.
cinematic straight.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. It just like, yeah, I get what you're saying, but like they almost like I would just rather just watch a cutscene because you already have plenty of
Honestly.
you already have plenty of those. So, I got a question for you about really something about the cutscenes. But while I'm thinking about it, like so one thing in specific I want to talk about is the icon battles. Okay, like the huge larger
The
than life battles.
kaiju, yeah.
I
The
have
Godzilla.
I have a love-hate relationship for them. So
Oh.
that first fight that you have at the very beginning with the icon Ifrit and the icon Phoenix at the very beginning, like the first couple hours of the
Yeah,
game,
the tutorial fight, yeah.
that fight sucked to me. Like watching it, it was like, holy shit! Like this looks so expensive. You know what I mean? Like this fight was a big part of their budget, and I was like, I'm sorry, there's like freaking fly in here. But I'm watching dude. I'm watching this fight, and I'm like, oh, dude, looks awesome. But like the controls are so basic, and I didn't like it. I was like, dude, just let me play as Clive again because this sucks. But after that first icon battle, then it's the next one where you fight. Who is it? Is it who's
when you play as Ifrit?
Yeah. When you play as a Ifrit and you fight, who is it? I'm trying to think who it is. I know what it is. It's Benedict.
The guy before.
Yeah, Garuda.
Garuda. Yes.
When
Benedicta.
you fight her, I was like, okay, now I'm feeling it because it felt way more interactive. I could dodge a bit more. I could get right up in her face, and I was beating the shit out of her. Like, and I was like, okay, like I was getting really like pumped for it. I was like, and there's a part in this game I about jumped off my couch, Jan. I was so freaking hyped. I was so goddamn hyped. So, and I don't want to go too off because I'm talking about icon battles. I want to hear your thoughts on it. But the part that got me super hyped was Clive. He thinks he killed Joshua. Obviously we're spoiling the fuck out the first part of the game, so sorry. But anyway, he thinks he killed Joshua, and he's trying to come to grips with that. And like, so he finally accepts his fate. And I know you've seen that part where you accept your fate.
Accept the truth.
Accept the truth. And that part about made me jump off the couch because he says, I love Clive's voice, by the way. Clive's voice is awesome. And he says something like, you're not the real Ifrit, I am. And you see him like start turning and shape shifting. And you see like him starting to turn like darker and the fire starts coming out. And I'm like, that shit was so hype. It was so hype for me. I about jumped off the couch. My wife was watching me play. She didn't know what the hell was going on, but I was super hyped for it, man. That's one of my favorite parts of the game where you have to fight Ifrit, while you're trying to accept the truth. And I thought that was awesome.
Yep.
That part was good. Yeah.
No,
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that I also like usually like in media, in stories, I love the whole inner fight.
Yeah.
The whole interior conflict kind of thing. So I love that too.
Yeah.
And the whole accept your truth thing kind of became a meme online. I'm seeing it a lot. Like I'm seeing people like spouting like hot takes on Twitter, like saying, I don't know, Dark Souls 2 is better than 1. And then people repost it and post the screenshot of FF16 saying accept the truth.
Accept the truth. Yeah, it reminded me of Jedi Survivor when you like you hone the dark side in Survivor. It kind of reminded me of the same thing. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, same way to activate it. Yeah. So that leads me into that was awesome. But so what do you think about the icon battles all in all? Do you like those parts?
I have a similar experience with you that at first I really hated them. Like not hated them. It's kind of there. I felt like while I was playing the first ones, even the Garuda one to an extent, I was like, okay, this is really cool now. Every time, but when the game's not going to be new anymore, when I'm going to just replaying it normally, this is going to be like the worst part to replay. It's going to be such a fucking drag because it's just that, especially the Phoenix fight. Oh my fucking god! Like all you do is hold the attack button, the fireball button, and you keep track of it. Try to match the cursor with Ifrit. It looks cool. Ifrit jumping from tower to tower in that zone of the Enders or the fuck that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you said, it's fucking boring. It's like 5 minutes of you just like it might as well be a cutscene, honestly. And but exponentially with every next icon fight, it added a bit more. It gave it a little bit more, and it built up. It was a bit more technical. It had a bit more to it, and eventually the fight against, spoiler alert, Ultima, that fight won me over. I was like, okay, I'm having a lot of fun during this fight. Because the Garuda fight, all right, I felt more like, I was playing a video game, but it was still a bit too bare bones for me. Like, because Ifrit has, 2 or 3 moves, and just repeat those until you win. Again, cinematic looked all right, but the Ultima fight, okay, that actually had me, I was playing, I was worrying about losing. You have a lot. You can, just as Clive, not as much, but still, you can chain a lot of attacks. You can do the explosions. You can do the slide, like instead of dodging, you can dodge. But maybe if you want to really get out of trouble, you can slide. You can whole circle, slide out of the way, and then you can slide out of danger, get up in his face, and fucking chuck a fireball at his face from point blank range. I love that. I love that fight. I love it so much. So that's what I feel about the icon battles. I have a question for you. You talked about the lack of customization. How do you feel about the fact we cannot change clothes? Because we got to the point.
I'm fine with, yeah, because I mentioned that in my introduction about how I was fine with it because and again I go back to 7 remake, right? You can't change Cloud's clothes. You can't change Tifa or anything like that. I know some people probably would want to put Tifa in a bikini or something, but unless you
have a mod for that.
I'm sure they do. But yeah, because we're console players, yeah, I mean they don't have anything like that. So I was fine with it. In 15, I know you can change the clothes. Here's what I'll say. If they had it, I would like it, but it's okay. The one thing I will say is that I don't. And this might be controversial, man.
I think you're gonna know what you're gonna say.
I liked Clive's outfit before he changed.
Yes, same. Oh my god, I feel the same way.
I liked his armor way better, dude.
Like, what is that getup, dude?
I don't know.
What the fuck?
He looks like
is that a
Dracula.
corset?
Yeah,
what the fuck?
It does look like a corset. Now that I think, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't kink shame, right? And I'm not anyone to judge anyone's fashion sense, but what the fuck are you wearing? At least, most games, at least give me the chance to wear the previous armor. Actually, most RPGs are like that now. They're like a bunch of cool outfits, but they're behind a paywall, and the only armor you can wear is the ones from different parts of the story. I love that in this game because I really don't like the. I mean, I get it's part of his aesthetic. He's all red, and that's his.
Yeah, it's got a little bit more like it was his dad's like. Like I get all of that, but it just doesn't look as good, man. And like that first armor set looks so cool.
Yeah, the Imperial one. It looked cool as fuck. I remember looking at the cutscenes. Honestly, even during the boring cutscenes, the boring B grade animation cutscenes, at least I had a cool armor to look at. That's all I was thinking about. I was looking at all the details in the armor. I was like, man, that looks good. Now I can't even have that.
Yeah.
What am I gonna look at now? And now I look at the sword. I like how the sword changes. They have different model for every sword in the game. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. But yeah, no, I agree 100%. I think that the armor he had before that was awesome. I get why he changed clothes too, because I mean he's not part of the Imperials anymore. I totally get it. And I'll tell you another thing too. And I understand why he did it, but I like the tattoo, man. I like the branded. I like the brand. I like that. I liked it for his look, right? Like even on the cover of the game, he has the brand.
That's iconic, yeah.
Yeah, now he doesn't even have that, where we're at in the game. So it just I don't know.
At least he has a scar, right?
Yeah.
It kind of made me that's what made it okay for me. Although speaking about that, I think it's kind of ridiculous because the idea is that before he takes off the brand, there's this we kind of get a taste of how much they're ostracized from society, right? How much branded people are disliked, again, Japanese people really love doing the magical racism thing, but it's everywhere. But and I kind of this is kind of a tangent. We got to talk about the side quests because I saw you reposting something about the side quest. Just remind me about that.
I did.
Didn't you? Yeah, I think you did. Maybe you didn't. But
what did I say? What did the post say? Because I don't remember.
Yeah, something about people complaining about the side quests, and this guy saying I actually like them, and you agreeing with that.
Oh yeah, yeah, I did. I
Yeah.
agree with that. I agree with that because so I know you're about to say. So what I'll say to that
Mhm.
is, I understand there is a lot of them that is go here get this. Like I just did one.
Mhm.
I did one this morning. I didn't have much time. I played for like an hour,
Mhm.
but I did a side quest this morning about getting some linen for someone at the hideaway. I need to get some linen. I had to go to where was that? Was it Rosaria? No, maybe it wasn't there. No, I
Is
think it
it?
was. No.
It is Rosaria. It's that town where you need to talk to the prostitute to get through the gates.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's in that area. Yeah. So the prostitute. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she is. What
The
a
yeah.
courtesan, whatever.
The veil. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did that, and yeah, that one was trash. However, it led to a cool fight though, because she said that there was someone there who was bringing the supplies and had heard from
Mhm.
him, and Clive's like, "I'll go find it." And then you go find it, and this dude is like trying to like take all this guy's shit, and he's like, and then you show up and you're like, "Hey, you can't take that." And he's like, "That's all right, I will." "Hey, killer, come out here and kill this guy." And then it's like this big ass brute with his hammer, and he's like, "Don't call me killer." And he comes out the bushes,
Honestly.
and I fucked him up in like literally 30 seconds. Like he had nothing
Yeah.
on me, you know. So
Honestly,
I liked it, but it, you know, I get it. I understand.
okay, I'm gonna go back to the side quest talk later. But
Hmm.
actually, let me turn on a light here. Give me a sec.
Yeah.
So I was saying. So yeah, so during the whole that part of the game, you get a taste of how much
Hmm.
having a brand sucks, and even the cutscenes are there for it. Every single cutscene in that part of the game exists to show you how shitty branded people are treated,
Hmm.
how shittily. But then like okay, they removed the brands, so they're free people now. They have these huge ass fucking scars where the brands used to be,
Yeah.
and people don't realize what that is. There's like a cutscene. There's like a scene that plays out where people say, "Oh well, I remember seeing a guy like you back then, but nah, he was branded,
He was
and you're
branded.
clearly not." He has like huge ass fucking scar where the brand. So
Right.
I think that's funny as fuck.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, talking about the side quests. So in the post you posted, it mentioned how okay, the side quests may be boring, but they are lore building.
I agree. Yeah.
And I say yes, but
Hmm.
they're kind of redundant. Some of them, I think,
Okay.
I like a few of them. Like in the very early part of the game, you know, when you still have the old hideout.
Yeah.
When you kind of the side quests are mostly about meeting people, right? And they're very
That's right.
short and sweet. I like that,
Hmm.
and I might even like a few about they're about that, about the branded thing. There was one was really cool. I mean, cool as in very very violent about
The wolf.
how this guy said that his son was being attacked by a wolf,
Hmm. Yeah. The
and
wolf.
yeah,
Yeah.
you came to save him. You killed the wolf, and the kid says, "Shit, you were supposed to die.
Hmm.
This is like our favorite game. We kill branded people
Yeah.
like this."
Right.
That was pretty fucked up, and I get that. And if it were only a few like that, I would accept it. There's like fucking 10 side quests about that. There's 10 side quests where all it's about is that, oh, you shitty branded people. I hate you so fucking much. You're the scum of society. I wish. Okay, I had a branded baby. I held it 9 months in my pregnant belly. Then I found out it was branded. I fucking threw it in the bin. You know, fucking. I'm glad I'm rid of it. I'll get you a new brother, son. Don't you worry. Like, okay, I get it. All right.
That's wild.
It's kind
Yeah.
of yeah. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. I feel. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It kind of falls into the category of what is it called? I don't remember what it's called. It's the like emotional porn, something like that.
Hmm.
Pretty much, you know, it shows so much of how shitty something is, how shitty lives these people have. Then it becomes ridiculous. It's not tragic anymore. It's just, you know,
Yeah.
it loops.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, the side quests, but they're not fun. Like, let's not fool ourselves.
No.
They're
No.
not fun.
They're not.
They're
But
fetch quests.
right. But here's the thing. What I'll say is, and again, maybe I'm the type of people that should shut up so they'll stop doing quests like this. But I guess it just gives me more time to go like explore. I think that's
Mm,
I think that's kind of my thing. Is like there's not a whole lot of exploration in this game as it is. I mean, like
that's true.
it starts to open up a little bit. Like, you know, you start to get to those bigger parts, but let's be honest, there's still not a lot to explore. So I think the side quests just give me that option too. Because if it was just me running around trying to power level the whole time, eventually I'd be like, okay, I'm getting real bored. You know what I mean?
No,
But
it's a necessary evil. I know, I agree.
if the side quests are there, at least that gives me a reason to run back and go to a place I've always been to. But it's just not. I don't know. In the way of like treasures and stuff, it's not as rewarding. It's not
Yeah,
as rewarding to explore. You know what I mean?
I might have opened 7 treasure chests in 25 hours of the game. Might have opened less than 10 for sure. Like the treasures are so scarce.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing cool about the side quests is some of them have cool rewards. There's certain side quests that have, instead of the normal icon, the
Exclamation
point,
It's like a plus
they
sign.
have a little plus, and they give cool stuff. I don't know if you've done any of them. I don't want to spoil too much for you. There's one, I'll tell you some of the shittiest rewards, but they're still cool. One of them is about finding a new medicine, and after you complete it, all your potions have are powered up.
Mm-hmm.
And and all the potions give more health. The buffs last longer, so that's cool.
Yeah.
There's this one, and I'm not going to talk about it because I don't know if you did it. It involves chocobos. Have you done that one?
I think there's been a couple that I've done of those.
No,
you talking about the one where
no.
you talking about the one where I get the chocobo? Where it's
that's the one.
Okay,
yeah, when you find
okay.
that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
Where
so
you get the chocobo. So I like those.
Well, I mean, do you know? Yeah, maybe you don't know, and that's fine. But
Mm-hmm.
if let's say me and you, we like doing a lot of the side quests. I don't think me and you would switch it. But if we didn't play the side quests, would we miss out on a chocobo entirely?
I think so.
I wonder if you would. I wonder if like
I would hope so, because that's just shitty. I mean, then why would I even do it?
I don't use it though. Let's be honest. I don't use it. I run everywhere.
Not during story, because when you're like going through like story missions, it's useless because it forces you to get off it every 5 minutes, if not even every minute. But when I don't know if you've been doing many bounties. Those are actually kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm doing them. Yeah.
And those are actually kind of fun because it doesn't tell you exactly where they are. It gives you a vague description, tells you a general area where they are. And it kind of like goes, that's when I use a chocobo.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, those are fun. I've only done 3 so far because only 3 have been available to me right now. I haven't gotten any more, but I've done the 3 already. I've done all those.
Later on, they start dropping very unique materials, so you can make cool ass swords with them, and not only swords but also accessories. So that's fun because honestly, as you said, there's not much exploration to be done. And there's not much customizations with your gear that can be done. They really give you a lot of powerful gear, just laying around in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So many times I remember I would actually check up on the blacksmith every hour or so. Every hour or so of the game to see if I can craft something new. And sometimes I do, only to find a better weapon right like on the main quest path in a chest. And I feel kind of stupid. But I kind of like that. You can get a lot of very good stuff from the blacksmith.
My issue is, and maybe you don't feel this way, because I think you said something that makes me think you don't, but I just don't feel like, and maybe I'm just got my head up my ass here. I don't feel like the different swords you get, even though they say they have better attack damage and stuff like that and stun damage, I don't feel like they make much of a difference, man. I'm almost curious to try. Like, I think I still have like a attack level 80 sword in my inventory that I haven't sold yet. I'm kind of tempted to just try it and just see how I do, because I almost feel like it's not doing anything. I could be wrong about that. Like,
I mean,
it feels like that. And it's not just the swords. I feel like besides the berserker ring that you were talking about with the dodge, I don't feel like a lot of them really make a huge difference. And again, I could be wrong. Maybe that's ignorant, but so far I haven't gotten anything that's really made it like, holy shit, the gameplay is like vastly different. You know what I'm saying? It might change like a little bit, but nothing like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I, like you, haven't died too many times in this game. I died a few times, mostly to bounties, because those ones are actually
right,
difficult. But I've never gotten to a point where I would die repeatedly to a certain boss, so I try to switch up my gear to see if it made any difference. So I'm like you on that one. I just assume they're better because, I mean, I'm doing I'm doing better damage, but the enemy is also getting more HP and more defense.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a constant balancing war.
Right.
So it might be that. I think if you did equip the base weapon, the base sword, you might see a lot of difference.
Maybe I'll try it. Maybe I'll try it, and
Yeah,
I'll
just do
post
it.
the I'll
For
post the gameplay.
science.
Yeah, just to see what it says because because I pre-ordered the game, I got and you pre-ordered it too, right? You pre-ordered the game, didn't you?
Yeah, I pre-ordered a physical though. I don't know. What did you get?
So it's actually I think now. Forgive me, I haven't played the first Final Fantasy in a long time, but there's a
You mean
sword
the very first one?
Yeah, like the very first one, and it says there's a sword that has the sketchings of 4 heroes that save their realm or something like that.
Is the Heroes of Light? Is them?
I believe so. I don't remember what the sword's called though. It might be like some kind of. I have to go back. I'll let you know. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah,
But
I don't have that one.
Okay.
That's only for you capitalists.
Okay, it might. Yeah, it might have been. It might be like a digital only thing or something.
So, yeah.
Because
I didn't get no codes with my copy, so it must be.
Oh man, well I'm sorry. But yeah, it's like I'll find it and I'll send you a picture of what I'm talking about. But I think it's
please.
I think it's supposed to be kind of like referencing because there's a lot of references. That's the thing. Like people say this. So here goes. We'll get to the other specifics, but we haven't even touched the story or Clive or anything. So we got we still got some things to break down. But as a Final Fantasy game, right? There's a big argument right now. Like this game is not Final Fantasy. To you, what is a Final Fantasy game, and would you agree the 16 is a Final Fantasy game?
I would say yes. I mean, I touched on it before. I think this is not a Final Fantasy game discourse ended with, with 11.
Right.
Right? Like, I mean, what is a Final Fantasy game? We have MMO in the main line, but I'm not talking spin-offs. I'm talking in the mainline games. We have MMORPGs. We have games that are, hybrids between action and turn-based. We got fucking whatever 15 is. To me 16 is. I was actually thinking about it while playing it. I think that we've never had in the history of time of humanity, right? There's never been a phenomenon before like what we're seeing now with franchises, branching out so much. Franchises that are so beloved that make so much money. People keep making either movies or games for them, but of course you don't want to go stale, so they keep renovating them somehow, reimagining them somehow, and they just carry over some elements.
Right.
Final Fantasy is a kind of the one that changes the most out of all of them. But I think that all it takes for a game to be a Final Fantasy game is to have Final Fantasy in the title, right? And maybe to be an RPG, right, if you really want to. But what even is an RPG? I think that today a lot of games are RPGs. We talked about God of War being more of an RPG than FF16. So I think that there's really I think it's a very ridiculous discourse to be. It's like, what do you get? What kind of criticism is it? That, okay, this game is great, but it's not Final Fantasy. Like what exactly? What is your argument? That since it does not condone to certain criteria that you have arbitrarily set up, it's not as good as it factually is. Like, you see, I'm really struggling to validate this argument.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way, man, because it's like you got people, and don't wrong. Like I appreciate turn-based games. I don't play a lot as I used to. I used to play 10, and like you say, 12 is more of a tactical sort of combat system. Like you can move freely, but you can't attack freely. It's
you can, but it's much more efficient to have use the gambit system.
That's right.
It's pretty much level 1 base programming. What it is, you're telling me, okay, in this situation you do this, in sort of situation you do that, and make like a string of commands like that.
Yeah. So like each Final Fantasy game is always either changed or built upon what came before, and so like with this game, I don't get why people are still stuck in this like turn-based shit. That, dude, when's the last time Final Fantasy's been turn-based? I mean, think about it, bro. Like look how long it's been, man.
I actually let me think about it.
I mean, like 13 was 13 was turn-based. I believe it wasn't. It wasn't
kind of a stretch. It was a precursor to the 7 remake combat system. That's what it was.
All right, well that's fair. I mean, yeah, precursor to that.
Honestly,
But yeah,
10 was the last, I think, or the
right.
main lines.
Yeah,
The 10
yeah.
was the last that was actually turn based, and that was what 2001.
Man, it
Dude,
was
it was
yeah.
like 20 years ago. What?
Yeah. Yeah, dude. It's like I just don't get these people. Like you've been waiting 20 years for Final Fantasy to get back to this turn. It's like, dude, look at all the games out there that are still turn based, that are
Yeah,
still like this is not your series anymore. If that's what you want, if turn based is solely what you want, that's not what you're
go
gonna
play
get here,
Octopath Traveler,
dude. Do
dude.
that.
Go play
Persona, right? Persona's turn based, right?
fucking anything, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes, Persona is turn based. All of SMT is turn based. I mean, you have so much.
yeah. There's so much
Pokemon,
material.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah, right, right. Yeah, exactly. So, and that's the thing. Like, especially with, I mean, I've told you, I've said a million times on this show, like,
Mhm.
even though the Pokemon games are very, very, I mean, they're very similar. Let's be honest. They cut and dry. They've
Mhm.
done this shit a billion times. I still like the turn-based system, but that's not what I'm coming to Final Fantasy for. As long as it has the elements. So, what, like, again, we had a whole episode. And if you guys haven't watched it, you can look it on the channel where we talk about, and Lyra, our special guest, was on, and returning guests, and we talked about our favorite RPGs and what makes an RPG and things like that. And we all had different things that we had said that makes an RPG an RPG. And I think and we were all in the right. I don't think anybody was specifically wrong because it's completely opinionated. I think the same thing goes with here. Like if you don't think Final Fantasy is Final Fantasy anymore, then that's fine. But I think to me, and Jan, I'm curious. I'm sure we agree on this. The soundtrack is the best it's ever
Oh,
been. It's the
baby.
best it's
Oh
ever
my God.
been. There's no
Okay.
other dude. There's no other game like Final Fantasy 15 had a good soundtrack. I think it had a decent soundtrack. The 16 shits takes a fat sloppy green shit on Final Fantasy 15 soundtrack. Let's be honest, dude. The first like when you start up your PS5 and you go
Yes.
over the little. I sat
Okay.
there and I listened to that shit for an hour, Jan. I listened to that shit
All right.
for an hour. Listen to that main theme for Final Fantasy 16. The music, the world, it still feels very Final Fantasy to me with all the political stuff. Like if you go back to like the
Mhm.
early days of Final Fantasy's
That's like 4, I think, even.
always
Yeah.
had right. It's always had political shit in it. It feels super Final Fantasy to me. The creatures, I will say, the creature designs are not the best, like the regular creatures. I'm not talking about like
Mhm.
the boss fight. Boss fights are
Yeah,
awesome.
pretty generic. Yeah, no, I agree.
And what we were talking about the bounties, right?
bounties.
The
Yeah, they're
bounties are
great.
good, but everything else is kind of run of the mill, not as good as what we've seen. But if it still feels very like the exploration, like the traveling from city to city and all that stuff. I don't know, dude. It still feels very Final Fantasy to me, but that's just my preference. But
Mhm.
the music is fucking fantastic. It's a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 for me.
Oh, dude. I don't know. I love the music. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
And it's rare that I play a game or we watch a movie, anything that has this good a soundtrack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
On that, I agree. It's better than the entire franchise. I don't know. I think that 15, for all its faults, 15 has a killer soundtrack.
Oh, it does. Oh, it does. It does. It
Yeah.
does. I agree. Yeah, I agree.
And I'm one of the people that defend the 13 soundtrack. I actually really like it. I know it's not most cup of tea.
Yeah.
Dude,
I think
just
all
don't
of them.
know.
I think all
7.
of them.
Come on, 7.
Oh yeah,
7
yeah, of
soundtrack
course,
is
of
fucking.
of course, man. Yeah, you got to throw that one up there. I think
So,
16.
I don't know.
I think 16
And
and
7.
7 are pretty tied to me because 7 does have great music. I agree. Even the original, like that original score is amazing.
Yeah, the meaties. No, here I cannot, in good conscience, tell you that I like it more than the rest of the franchise, but I do like it a lot. I like it a lot. I agree.
Well, I think it just sounds so like epic and ambient, and it's
Oh, yeah,
especially like Clive's story, and we haven't even gotten to that yet, but Clive's story, especially with how it starts out with him being like vengeful, right? Like I'm gonna find out who killed my brother. It fits. Like it. Look at it. Look, you can see his face in this panel here. He looks angry, and that music playing just sounds like a man that's got issues and he's ready to sort them out. I don't know. I like it. I like it.
No, I like most of them. There's this one theme that plays when he turns into a freak that I'm kind of split on. I think you know what I'm talking about. And it's kind of it has a little bit of not really techno, but not very. It doesn't have orchestral sounds in it.
Yeah,
I'm not against it, but it kind of clashes with the rest. I guess you gotta have some variety, but
Yeah.
that I'm kind of split on. But the rest is great. Even in the calmer music, like the one in the hideout, or in
Hmm.
certain towns, like in Martha's town, the
Yeah, Martha
innkeeper.
Skeet. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
like
yeah. I can hear.
you can
Yeah.
you can actually buy that one in that town. You can buy it and you can set it as a default song on the hideout, and that's what I did.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. And yeah, you know
Actually,
what?
I'm sorry. I'm like in complete darkness. I have to choose
Oh.
between this and being fucking yellow. I don't know. Like I don't know what's worse.
Being fucking yellow.
Yeah, it is yellow. It is.
It doesn't look too bad, man. You gotta get your lighting straight, man. You gotta.
I really do. I
Yeah.
really do. Mm.
Speaking of which, talking about like being able to buy shit, I have so much gil, it's not even funny. Like I have so much fucking money, it's ridiculous. But again, it goes back to what I was saying before. I feel like there's just not a whole lot to buy. Like there's just
It
not a
really
lot
isn't.
of, and it's like you can buy music, sure. Like if you're like you, for instance, right? You're a completionist. I'm sure there's a trophy that if you buy all the music, you get a trophy. I'm sure it is.
I
Let's
haven't
be
looked into
honest.
it, but there probably
I'm
is. Yeah.
sure it is, right? Because like
Mhm.
if you look on the trophy list, it's like hidden. Everything's hidden, right? They're not trying to
Mhm.
spoil anything about the
Mhm.
game. But I guarantee you, there's one about the music. But dude, them jokers are like 40,000 gil.
Yeah,
I'd
there's
use
that.
all my money for that.
So here's the thing. Yeah, I agree with you. Like I'm almost desperate to waste money in this game, and the only thing that there would actually be there would be a hit to my wallet is the fucking music that costs way too much, and now I'm worried that if I buy that, an hour later you're gonna find out, oh, do you want this cool sword? Well,
Mhm.
I mean, you shouldn't have bought that music score. So so I'm like tilting between wanting to spend the cash in because everything else is so fucking cheap. I mean, even the swords are cheap, and I don't even want them because, as I said, the story gives you when it gives you the cool outfit, it gives you a sword that shits on all the ones that you find in any shop up until that point.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you noticed, but you can there's this thing I really like with the blacksmith. So every great boss gives you a unique material. And when you buy I don't remember the order, but the first boss, the material he gives you, you can make a cool sword with it.
Mhm.
And then you can fuse that sword with the unique material that the next box gives you. And then that sword can be fused with a unique material that the next big box will give you. And it's kind of a ongoing thing. And I'm curious of where it's going to end up. Because that's always the best sword you can get, from what I found.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
I agree. Yeah, you know what? One thing I wish they could do, like again, it goes back to the customization. I would like to be able to do a little bit of transmog, right? Like, cause there's designs of swords that I really really like. Like I
mhm.
have one now, and I don't remember what it is. I literally
Is
just
it
got it like last
the
night.
platinum sword? I don't
So
know where to
so
find it.
it might be the it might be the
Did
because
you buy it?
yes I did,
Mm.
because
Yeah, it has like a cross. It has like a
yeah,
cross on
that's
the
it.
hilt.
That's
Yeah,
it.
that's a platinum
Yeah.
sword. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. Because before that, I right after Sid dies and he gives you
Mm.
some of the dominant,
Ramu. Yeah.
yeah, some of Ramu, and you end up getting that like sword. It's kind of like purple. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's kind of
Yes,
like,
yes, 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 yes,
yeah,
yes.
you get that shortly after. I was using that one for a while, and now I have
That's
the
cool as
one with the
hell, man.
cross on it, and like I just love the look of the cross one that I like. Almost I don't even want to like go to another sword. I wish you could kind of transmog a little bit. I think that would have been cool to add to that. Maybe that's something they can add with the patch or something. Maybe they
Yeah,
can.
Hogwarts Legacy kind of spoiled us with that one, huh?
Yeah, a little bit, man,
Mhm.
a little bit. But
But
yeah, I think that that you get way too much gil for your own good. And another thing too, like, and it goes back to the side quests. They're not. There's some of them that are super rewarding, like the plus symbol, like you were talking about. But
mhm,
I get why people skip over them. I do understand because
mhm,
you don't get a lot out of it. But I do think that it does have some stuff is very like it continues. Like you help out the guy with the chocobos, whereas his whole trailer flipped and the chocobos surrounded it. If you help him
mhm.
like earlier on in the story, then before you get your chocobo, that guy remembers you. You're like,
Yeah,
and that's pretty cool. That's
it's all right.
you know,
Honestly, later the side quests start getting more rewarding in the new hideout. I don't know if you figured this out, but after the 5 year skip,
mhm,
the one after Sid's
yeah,
game end, there's this new currency that, besides ability and gil, there's
Yeah.
new currency. It's like fame or something.
Yeah.
And I was wondering what the fuck is that. And then it opens up, a new section opens up in the hideout, and there's this place that gives you away stuff for free once you reach a certain level of fame.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, that side quests kind of become more rewarding after that, because every single bit of fame helps, to reach those. Because fame is not something you spend; you just reach new milestones, and that's what gets you more stuff. And that's how you get the Berserker ring, and a bunch more cool stuff. So you even get skill points. I'm not sure how that works. How you put a bunch of skill points in like a fruit basket. But and I like the idea. I like the idea that you take on the mantle of Sid, and now you are like this revealed, infamous leader. And the more infamous you become, the more people start taking sides, start taking a liking to you, start giving you gift baskets with berserker rings in them. That's a cool idea.
I got a question for you as far as like so what you were just talking about where your fame, right? Every time your level goes up, they gift you stuff. There's excuse me, I can't remember his name, but there's a guy that stands right next to her behind that desk. Where if you go up to him, he has side quest. He's supposed to have side quests around.
Never does.
He never does, man. What the fuck is he there for?
Well, here's the thing. I think that
I did one mission. I did one mission for him, and then that was
at the very beginning in the old hideout, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Here's the thing. Yeah, ever since the 5-year skip, every single mission, side quest, has been in the hideout. So there's no need for him. I don't know. Maybe closer to the end game, a lot of side quests open up, and he begins being useful. But for now, I feel really bad for him. Like every time you talk to him, I talk to him, even though I know he doesn't have anything new because he doesn't have the icon. He's like all excited. He's like, "Hey, Sid, what up?" And he doesn't have anything for me. And so I close the minute he goes, "Well, catch you next time." Awesome. I'm like, dude, I feel so bad.
Yeah, like I've just tried to because he has a couple dialogue options where you can ask him about the past 5 years and then I think there's another option about how he feels about the new hideaway and all that stuff. And I've tried to just talk to him just to see maybe because some games, most RPGs, if you talk to somebody, they'll give you more shit or they'll give you a quest or something, and it just ended he gave me his whole spiel about he gave me this whole spiel about what he was up to the past 5 years and then how he felt about a hideaway, and then that was it. He doesn't have any quest or anything, and I'm like, I don't understand what he's supposed to do. What am I supposed to be doing with this guy?
Yeah, he's me for real, just trying to be useful, but
no, it's weird. Maybe he has more of an end game because I hear that apparently there's over 80 side quests in this game. Now I don't know if that counts the bounties. I'm not sure.
Probably not. Because there's no, you don't get the little side quest completed thing when you get a bounty. So.
Yeah, that's right. So that's a lot of game. Man.
It is a lot. That is true. I still don't understand how I'm only halfway through. Because honestly, okay, I shit a lot about the low quality cutscenes, but the budget on this game is insane.
Yeah.
One thing that I wanted to say is that ever since after 15, how half baked this game was. And after seeing how 7 Remake got split into 3, I got really worried in that period. I thought, man, can AAA big budget RPGs not have that deep stories anymore? Because it's so expensive to make these, high budget cutscenes that you cannot have as many cutscenes anymore. You cannot have as many dungeons, as many games. Yeah. I was really worried about that, right? Because it makes sense. But no, 16 came here to reassure me. Because this game, besides the few, as you said, lower rate cutscenes, that there were always a thing, honestly, in RPGs. This game doesn't really it keeps having the same level of high budget cutscenes. They never let up. All the story threads, at least for now, halfway through, are still ongoing. They haven't dropped anyone. There hasn't been a single cop out, at least in my opinion. So yeah, do you want to talk about the story now?
Yeah, I feel like we went on about other things except for really the main thing really is the story. So what do we think about Clive, man? I mean, what do you think about Clive?
I really like. I did not expect to like him as much as I do. He's really likable. He's just because I feel like at least at this, it may be our age, it may be how not desensitized, but how used we are to archetypal protagonists, right? Characters that fit into archetypes. But me, it's really difficult for me to invest emotionally in characters. It takes a really well-written character for me to actually be emotionally invested in, to actually give a shit about what's happening to him. Or at least not even that, but, just actually like him. Actually, every
Right.
character he's in, I'm happy to hear about his saying. I get a little serotonin when I hear him speak. Clive is one of them. Clive, he's just, as much as he is very Japanese, he's very anime, right? He talks like this all the time. And
all right.
yes, with the British
He
accent,
says
of
all
course.
right so much, dude. Have you noticed that? Now when you go back and play it, you're never not going to be able to hear it because he goes,
Man.
all right.
Well, I don't play in
Right.
English, but yeah, I guess.
Oh, you don't play in
Yeah.
English?
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't.
shoot. Okay, whenever.
So yeah, because this game really stepped up with the language options.
Really?
Usually, like when it comes to, well, of course, when it comes to like text, right? When it comes to the game in general, it always had a lot of options. But when it comes to voiceover, Final Fantasy was really stingy.
Well,
You even had
damn,
like
dude.
Japan.
I was gonna ask you about what you thought about the voice actor, and now you're playing it in Japanese. Well,
No, I'm not playing
damn.
Japanese. I'm actually not even that. Actually playing in Italian because this is the first Final Fantasy game to have an Italian dub.
Right.
And it's not. It's all right. It's not as good, but I'm glad it's a first step. It's a stepping stone.
Oh man.
So,
all right.
but I know that everybody loves Sid's voice actor. Everybody's talking about it, and I've heard it. And I've heard it bits in the trailers. I've heard some clips.
Yeah.
Yes, I do like him too.
His voice, yeah, dude. What? Oh man, so I didn't even know. I should have maybe asked you this or something because I was going to ask you what you thought about the voice acting because, like, so all right, so you really like Clive just to give
From
you
what I've heard, it's really good.
Right? Yeah.
From what I've heard.
Yeah, so like I know. See, when I said it, you kind of looked at me weird, and now I understand because the scene where Joshua is getting killed, that voice acting was it was moving, man. Like hearing Clive like, stop it, and then it happens, and he kills Joshua, and he's like, I'll fucking kill you, and he's like crying while he's screaming.
Oh, he throws the F-bomb?
Yeah, man, dude, I was like blown away. I was like, man, this. By the way, I reached out to the voice actor who plays Clive to see. His name is Ben Starr is what his name is. Ben and Star STAR. It's something weird, whatever. But I reached out to him to see if he'd come on the show, and I hadn't heard anything, so I'm assuming probably not. but I wanted to just applaud this dude because, and it really sucks, man. You're gonna have to play it again in English. You're gonna have to play it.
Oh no, I am gonna do I know there's a Final Fantasy mode, whatever that is, that you unlock after finishing the game. I'll do that in English. Don't you worry. I want to have the full experience.
Okay, because I get why you do it, and that's great. I'm glad that it has the accessibility options for that. That's really that's amazing. I'm really happy about that. But the voice acting in this game, and just to get back to Clive for a second, Clive's awesome. I was kind of worried he was going to be another stoic Cloud ripoff,
Cloud,
and I'm glad
we had a lot of those.
Yeah, dude, I'm glad that he's not that. I wouldn't want him being like Zach either, because I fucking hate Zach.
Oh, okay, yeah, the Cloud is better than Zach. Please, no.
And Jill,
Hero Hood, here I come.
God, man. Yeah, so he's not that, and I'm glad, but I'm also glad. I'm also glad he's not Cloud, because Cloud, especially as you get to know him more, you see him open up a little bit. He's really funny. He has that dry sense of humor. That's why we love Cloud. He's got that mercenary, badass personality, but he's very charismatic as well. Clive is charismatic because he has that very deep voice. If you hear the English anyway, I can't say
he has a deep voice in every language. Yeah, from what I've seen. Yeah.
He's got a very stoic type of personality, but you see him. He shows a lot of emotion in these scenes, and especially that Joshua death, man. I thought it was great, but the voice acting in general is through the roof. And again, if you do play it again, I don't know if I'm playing it again.
I will.
I don't know if I'll play it again right away. It might take a little break after I beat it, but you'll see what I'm talking about. It's really superb, but
Mhm.
it's beautifully acted, man. It's like really, really well done. Like, and here's the thing: the cutscenes. I actually disagree with everyone when it comes to the cutscenes because
What is
um,
everyone saying?
that the cutscenes are too long. I don't think they're too
Oh
long.
no, I love it. What are you on about?
I don't no yeah no you didn't say that.
It's MGS4.
You said they are long. You said they are
Yeah,
long, but you didn't
yeah.
say they're too long, right? I didn't hear you say too long. I heard you say they are long. They are long cutscenes, but I don't know, dude. Like I was entertained by the story so much, I was fine with it. Like it never like
Hmm.
they're not like because I never really played a Yakuza game all the way through. I think we had this conversation
Hmm.
last episode. I never played through them, but I know how long those cutscenes are, and they are long as fuck. This isn't even doesn't
Come
even
close.
touch Yakuza, man. You'll play for 15 minutes, and then you're watching a show for an hour. Now that's how bad they are. Final Fantasy 16 not like that. I don't believe that at all, dude.
No,
There
it's
is a
not.
lot of talking, but I feel like I'm playing the game a lot. I feel like I'm
No, no,
actually
definitely, yeah.
doing something, whether it be exploring Valistia or doing a mission somewhere
You know what the
else,
thing
man.
is?
It's yeah.
The thing is, it's well, it's timing is not the right word. It's well what I'm looking for. It's when it comes to the ups and downs, the pathos is it's well, it has good help me out here. When the
Mhm.
shorter ends and more intense moments
Right.
are all put at the right places, the story has good. It has good beat. It has
Mhm.
good beats, right? That's what I mean. So the cutscene, I don't mind them because usually, when you have a long cutscene after a very intense battle, after a very intense battle, you're all done with that. You put the controller down and you're ready to watch, the aftermath of it.
Mhm.
So I completely agree with you. And
Mhm.
besides, one thing I would have to say, there's a lot of times when you have like a cutscene of people talking,
Mhm.
and then you get to move for 5 seconds, and then you have another cutscene of people talking. You know what? Why don't you just chain the two cutscenes together? I don't
Yeah.
need to rock the controller stick for 5 seconds. I really
Yeah.
don't need that.
Well,
I
that's a
can
video.
just
That's like a video game problem in general, right? Like a lot of games do that. A lot
That's
of
true.
games do that. So it's not
Back to
really.
Kingdom Hearts too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was bad. Especially like at the very beginning. There's always that iconic beginning sequence where you're inside the.
The Roxas world, yeah.
Yeah, you might know more
Mhm.
as far as the accurate
The
name for it.
simulation, yeah, I know what
Yeah,
you're talking
yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah. So, um,
Yes.
yeah, but yeah, like yeah, I get the same thing. Like, why did you even let me have control of the game? Just keep it going. But
So I can open a door, right, or something like that.
yeah, yeah, you just step 5 feet and you're talking again. Yeah, but no, I thought all the cutscenes were really well done. I think they're
Uh-huh.
besides the ones where you're just kind of
The
just
one where
standing
they
around.
go like this, and
Yeah, yeah, where you put hand on your hip and all that stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah, they straight up took that from Cloud. Cloud does the same thing, and like if you play Seven Remake, right? Cloud
uh-huh.
when he's standing there listening to somebody talk, he put his hand on his hip like that.
Yeah, that's true. Or
Cloud does
he
the
has
same thing.
the crossed here, the crossed arms too. He does that a
Yeah,
lot too.
yeah, he does have that one. Yeah, but yeah, no, I think they're all well done, man. And I don't agree with any of these. Like, oh man, they're too long. I'm gonna stop playing. I feel like I'm just watching a movie. Like, yes,
Dude,
the beginning is a lot of cutscenes, like a lot. But when you get past that first 2 or 3 hours, man,
honestly,
it's
honestly, I don't get it. Like, first they're talking about how this is not a Final Fantasy game, and then they shit about how long the cutscenes are. I mean, have you played a Final Fantasy game?
uh
Like the story, it's like known for convoluted stories. It's known for this fucking huge you know plot lore dumps
mm,
in between boss fights. I don't know
yeah,
what you were expecting, and these are well done lore
mm,
dumps. Honestly,
yeah.
question: Did you ever confuse? I know this is random. Did you confuse at the beginning? After the 13-year skip, did you confuse Benedicta for Clive's mom?
I
Because
did
I
a
sure
little,
I
a little
sure
bit,
did. I should.
a little bit. Yeah, yeah, I
Because
did.
I thought, okay, there's like this cocky woman, right? They act the same way. Let's not pretend they don't. They have
Mhm,
a similar haircut, uh, or
yeah,
hair color.
hmm
So yeah.
yeah. I was. It felt good to. Well, like I said, it felt good that one that the Benedicta fight
Mm-hmm.
before you fight her truly as Garuda. I thought that
Mm-hmm.
fight was pretty awesome. But I mean, so we're kind of scratching the surface with the story, and there's a lot of connecting pieces and things like that.
Mhm.
To really, for me, like, I really liked how, and here's the thing, like when I played the demo, this demo was getting like the ultimate praise, like, and I think
Mhm.
people were really, there's some people that really overhype shit and it's not as crazy. I mean, it's awesome, it's good, but it's not like nuts. But I really liked how they really made you care about like the people in Rosaria with with Joshua, and then uh their dad, and you see, and the dad respects Clive even though Clive is supposed to be a shield, right? I liked all that stuff, like that
Mhm.
Clive is supposed to look out for Joshua, and it's almost like Clive, you can tell that he's jealous that he doesn't have the dominant, right? Like his brother has
Yeah,
the
the
dominant,
Phoenix. Yeah.
but he's not letting that jealousy keep him from protecting his brother. I was really liking that, and I was like, man, because see, Jan, I don't know how you were, but going into it, I didn't know what this game was really about. I didn't know what the hell I was gonna get from this, like as far as the
I
story
knew.
goes.
Yeah, I just knew it was a vengeance story.
Right. So
That's
I
all I
didn't.
knew. Yeah.
I know what was going on, but I was like, they did a really good job of making me already care, and maybe it's because I have a brother, so maybe it's
Hmm.
and I'm not saying me and my brother are the same way as like Joshua and Clive were, but I guess I immediately was along for the ride. I already cared about Joshua, I cared about their relationship, I understood Clive's allegiance to Joshua and everything, and
Hmm.
it like, I don't know, like I really like the setup, and for them to like, and how crazy that beginning was, right? When
Uh,
they get invaded, and everybody pretty much dies. Dad gets
and it's
decapitated right in
crazy
front of him.
violent. We haven't talked about that.
Yeah, dude, very
This game
violent,
is fucking violent,
very
and it's and
violent, dude.
it's you know everyone is very foul mouthed. I think that's a
Yeah,
first for the series.
very. Yeah, it is. I mean, as far as like mainline series, right? Like, I think that
Yeah, from what I know.
I know the Stranger of Paradise like spinoff for the first
I don't
game.
give a shit who you are. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah, they say shit and fuck a lot in that, but this, as far
But
as
it
like
wasn't violent.
yeah, not as bad as
Heads are
this.
rolling in this one.
Yeah. But it would have been really cool to see that in combat though. Wouldn't that have been cool? Like if I fought like
Mm,
if I fought like an Arachnia out in the open world sections, I could chop
mhm.
it in half or something. Or can I do that? I can't remember. Can you do
I
that?
don't think
Can
you
you?
can. I don't think. No, I don't think
That
you
would be
can.
really cool if you could. That would have added a little bit more to the combat,
I
I think.
would, yes, but I would not want it to turn into fucking God of War, right? I think that
Okay.
I would still like it to have a bit of finesse to it, right?
Hmm.
Because if it turns into a gore fest, I don't know. Maybe I would have liked it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being conservative and afraid for new things.
Yeah,
But
like if I mean, I'm just thinking if I got like if I have a sword, right, and I'm like this powerful, like Clive, especially where we're at in the game, right? Clive is like
mhm.
super powerful, man.
Powerhouse, yeah.
I should be able to like slice and dice these spiders, and
Maybe for the finishing moves, they could have done that. Because you do have finishing moves, right? When they are like on the ground and they're about to die.
yeah,
That could have been it. Yeah, you're right.
yeah,
Tim goes, yeah, you're dead, and he fucking stabs him.
yeah,
Kicks them while they're weak and wounded.
yeah. But
Mhm.
I like the whole thing with the mom not, Clive's
Being a
mom
bitch.
not,
Yeah.
yeah, being a bitch towards Clive just because that's what I was trying to understand. Like, what was the is it because he didn't have a dominant? Is that why he
I,
treated him like shit? Is that what I'm
yeah,
understanding?
I think so. It is. Yeah, he's like he has this thing about class, right? Even a later cutscene, you might have not gotten there yet, but she says something like, "After all, people cannot hide their upbringing." It's just something like that, right? People, they hide where they come from, and I think that she saw Clive as a bit of a black sheep, a bit of a, even though he was her son, but a bit of a bastard in the sense that he did not receive the blessing that he should
Mm-hmm.
have received, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and I guess everything is like a power struggle to her. If it's
Yeah,
not useful to her, then why does it even exist? That's her
yeah,
idea, I think.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was
This is another
wondering.
thing.
I was wondering about
You
that.
might have gotten some mileage out of the Historia thing. If you touched your touchpad button, you might have read up about that. I'm
That's
telling you,
right.
it's all there.
Yeah.
Back when the game doesn't really, the cutscenes don't really explain to you with exactly what's the difference between a dominant, a branded,
And a
and a
bearer.
bearer
Yeah.
is. And I got all that from the lore, from the
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
reading.
Yeah, because they use those names
Mhm.
like interchangeably a lot. Like Like you hear them so much.
Exactly.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Yeah, I had to look it up to really understand like it a little bit better because I thought because like I know a dominant was its own thing, right? It's kind of like
Dominant is a summoner.
yeah, so essentially it's like Attack on Titan, right? Like I know we have
Yes,
watched that.
that's really good.
That's essentially what it is. Like essentially they can conjure these.
I didn't know you watched that much of it. I know you watched just a little bit of it.
I watched the first like 10 episodes of the first season.
And you really know that much?
Yeah.
Because by then only one guy shows up who has the dominant, who has the Titan.
The dominant. Yeah. Well, no. Yeah, because what's his name? Who's the main guy in that?
Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron. That's it. I saw him turn into his Titan. I guess his dominant.
Yeah, the attack Titan. Yes.
Yeah, and so like I was already aware. Plus, I have a guy that I work with who's like huge into anime right
fucking
now.
Weeb.
Yeah, he's fucking bad off, man. He's but he's really into that kind of stuff, and he was telling me, dude, listen, like I know you can't get into Naruto. I know you're not into One Piece or any of that, but you'll like Attack on Titan. It's really, really cool. I'm like, all right, well, let me check this shit out. And I turned.
You know what? I second that. I think you should give it another try.
Yeah, whatever. I turned it on, and the first 10 episodes were okay, but Aaron was getting on my nerves, man. Like his voice was just like.
Dude, I promise you that by season 4, you're gonna like him.
I thought you didn't watch anime.
I didn't say that. Well, I read the manga, but
oh, okay, all right.
But I mean, it's pretty faithful. So
okay, I got you. Yeah, no, I mean, I remember us having that conversation that I've tried to get into anime because I know they have good stories, man, but I can't do it. I've tried. I can't. I can't stand the voice acting. It's so gosh dang bad. I can't. I have to like, and if I could probably watch it dubbed if I want to, but that's even more annoying because it's like I don't.
I mean, you watch you play Final Fantasy dub, so what's the difference?
I mean, it's not really dubbed though, is it?
I mean, it doesn't have the British. No, it is dubbed. It's a Japanese production. It's not. The original is Japanese.
Right. Yeah. Well, okay, but it's in English. That's what I mean, I barely speak that, but that's what I understand the most.
By the way, since we're on topic, I really like as I said, I saw some of the English dub, and I really like the British. I really the accents.
Yeah.
It really gives a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Clive, it was the last thing I do.
Yeah, dude. Hey, that was beautiful. No,
I like it. I like it a lot.
Listen, Clive. I'm telling you, he says, "All right." All right. He says that shit all the time. I'm telling you, it's really like it's funny, but it's cool. You know, his accent's awesome. I like it. I wish.
Does everyone have a British accent?
Pretty much. Sid has more of a Australian accent. I feel like he sounds more Australian.
That's interesting.
But he's awesome though. Like his voice actor is really cool. Like and that's the thing. Like we can get into that. I mean, Sid is awesome. This is one of my favorite iterations of Sid, if not my favorite. I mean, it's.
Is it? Yeah. That is. He is the Sid of this world. It hit me much later that he is the Sid of this Final Fantasy.
It hits you later.
Like, yeah, because I mean. He's not a Sid. He's usually like an engineer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it kind of threw me off at first. And his full name is fucking Sidolonius or some shit like that.
Sidolphus.
Sidolphus, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is a Sid. Yeah, I like him a lot too. He's a classic mentor character that is easy to like.
Yeah, no, he is. He's very, very likable. So because I forget that you can access the lore while the cutscenes are going on. So maybe you read up on it and I didn't. Do you think Sid and Benedicta, they had a thing? Do you think they had like a relationship, or does it say that in the game? Because I didn't read that part. I forget.
No, I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to pull anything out of my ass, but
the way they talk, it seemed like they do.
They do have history. I don't know what kind of history, but from what I understood, yes, they were affiliated, right? They were in the same affiliation. The kind of Sid broke off to do his own thing, so he could die on his own terms, and all of that. Well, Benedicta stayed behind.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that I know.
Yeah. Okay.
Honestly, it's really hard to keep up with all the affiliations. Honestly, I have to all the time. I have to like get a got a refresher on who is from which kingdom, where is each kingdom, and which kingdom is occupying which emperor is occupying which kingdom, and shit like that.
Yeah,
Because
right.
I might just be.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's confusing. Like when they start saying things like Drake's head, Drake's breath,
Yeah.
things like that.
Okay. At least when it comes to that, it's easy. It's the mother crystals. I think when it's Drake's something, it's a mother crystal.
Right,
At
right.
least that's easy.
But understanding like each
Mhm.
location of where they are,
Mhm.
like, and I think that's the only part of the story that, and again, I can go back and read. It's just so much
Mhm.
lore. It's so much lore. But like with the mother crystals, what I'm understanding, and again, if you have a little bit more that you can tell me and anybody else who's watching, like
Oh,
the mother
let's hear.
crystals is essentially the source
Yes.
of the is it let me watch what I say here. It's the source of, I know it's source of magic, but what about what with the dominance, right? Does it have a connection with the
Okay,
dominance, or is
I'm
that
not sure.
okay?
Okay, so I know there's ether.
All right,
There's
okay,
ether and there's crystals, and
right.
I'm not sure if it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because from what I understand, the blight is caused by the fact that the crystals are taking all the ethers to themselves.
Right.
And
Okay.
so that means that the crystals cannot be the source of ether if they're
Okay.
taking it, and so they cannot be the source of magic. Besides, right? That makes sense to me. But crystals are used in everyday life to
Right.
use magic, right? People they use them as catalysts for ether to make magic.
Mm-hmm.
And the branded or bearers are special because they do not need a crystal.
That's right.
They're just magic people.
Right.
But
if they use it, they can. Yeah, it'll kill them if they exhaust all that magic. Am I understanding that?
No, from what I understand, they're
Okay.
using their bodies as catalysts instead of crystal.
Okay.
And that's kind of poisoning their bodies.
Okay.
It's not good. You shouldn't be doing that too much.
Right.
And what I don't understand, are dominants the same? I still haven't understood that too much. Because dominants are essentially the same thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
They're magic people. So
right.
I'm guessing that they are also using coursing ether through their body, which is not the healthiest thing.
Well, it's kind of like too, like with Sid, right? Like Sid was coughing up blood.
Ah, that's true. Yes.
And so
he did become.
That leads me to believe that it's something with that. Like if you use it too much, like because I feel like he makes a comment at some point and says something like, "I don't have many more of this I can do." I think he says something like that to Sid.
I don't have. I don't have many of them. Like he doesn't attack. He does. I don't have many of those in me.
Yeah, that's right. He says something like that. So what I think I read somewhere. I read it in the game, like during the lore, and it's talking about like dominance. And it's really interesting stuff because from what I'm understanding, and again, if I'm wrong, please tell me. But I thought I read in it that also that dominance. So dominance, you have this summon, right? You have this like a titan, right? That you can.
Right.
When that person passes, the dominant gets passed to someone else. Is that what I read, or do I read that incorrectly?
So okay, yes, but so I don't want to correct you. I don't want to be the guy.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Actually,
no, please. It's a lot of lore. Seriously, tell me. I mean, if it's something I'm missing,
you might be right. But from what I understood, it's not as much as a passing, as much as a kind of an avatar thing, where when one dies, eventually, and not immediately, that's different from avatar. Eventually, someone else is born with an icon of that element. So it doesn't have to be the same. From what I understood, the fact that there are two icons of fire,
that's right.
Phoenix and Ifrit, coexisting at the same time, it's an anomaly. That should not happen.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, what I imagine should happen is that an icon of fire, a dominant of an icon of fire like Phoenix dies, and at some point, some years later, someone with an icon of fire who could be Phoenix but could be another icon of fire like Ifrit is given birth to.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing as, I don't know, I don't want to make a fool of myself, but I'm sure there are more ice summons throughout the Final Fantasy franchise besides Shiva, right? I can't think of any right now, but I'm sure there are.
Yeah, I don't. Off the top of my head, I don't know.
Yeah.
Are you cool? Like, because like when I first play the game and you find out Ifrit is Clive's dominant, were you kind of bummed out? It wasn't another like summon that was his like dominant? Because I feel like Ifrit is so popular, man. Like I feel like I would be
Mm-hmm.
cool to see something like different, like his
Mo-
his dominant
hmm.
being a little bit more somebody else. Like I feel
So
like
you mean they
Odin.
pull like
Odin
yeah.
would have been cool for Clive, but I understand Odin is in the. I get all that, but it's just something different because like Ifrit is like a main summon, right? Like you see him like more than
It's
anybody.
almost always the first summon you get.
Yeah.
Almost always, you know.
Hmm.
Well, I never actually even thought about it, but yeah, I mean, I kind of just accepted it, right?
Yeah.
Um, it would be cool. Like I said, it would be cool to see different stuff. Also, Ifrit kind of works because he's very nimble. He's got the fireballs. I think it would be fun to use. When I think of like how would Shiva work? He's making a magic user or just sitting in the bat throwing crystals. This doesn't sound as fun. So maybe it came down to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, I guess it's very story. It's like story wise, it makes sense, right?
Hmm.
Also, like not my story, but thematically wise, Cloud is very angry, right? He's got this fire in him, and
Yeah.
Ifrit is this fire demon, right? Represents all of his rage, right? All his
Yeah.
edge.
Right.
So I accept it.
Yeah.
Odin
Yeah.
is a bit more, he's almost always on his high horse, and in 13, I don't know if you remember, but in 13 you can control summons to an extent.
To an extent. Yeah. I remember that.
So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Odin was not fun to use.
Yeah.
And he was
Yeah.
the main one. Actually, he was the main one. Lightning's someone was Odin. I remember.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess that's true. I
Mhm.
guess like you see a freak the most, so I was kind of like,
That's true.
I was fine with it. But so like as far as the icons in general, what do you think about their designs? Do you like the way they look? That like
Oh yeah,
do you favor them over like 7 remake or 15? Right? Because 15 had like awesome. You got to admit, it had awesome
awesome animations. Yeah,
like
that's true.
animations for the summit. I mean, like Rama was like scary, man. I mean, he was like
Hmm.
terrifying how big he was, and like you see this big ass dude with a long ass beard, and you're like, man, this dude looks. If I saw that outside right now, I'd be shitting my pants.
Because if you saw the regular Ramu, like you wouldn't be shitting your pants.
Well, I
I
mean, I'm
mean,
just saying,
he just
he just looks scary to me in
he is
15, and
scary. So
yeah.
you don't like the 16 designs as much?
No, I like him. I like the way Titan looks like a
That
lot
is
better
cool.
in
Yeah,
this one. Titan almost like he has armor on, like
yeah, that's the
especially
idea.
on his face and stuff. I like Titan.
Hmm.
A
Going
freak.
back to the Attack on Titan similarities.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Mhm.
Yeah. Ifrit, I do like him better. I don't remember. I know in 7 remake, I didn't really like his design all that much. I wasn't
I
like,
don't even remember what it looks like, honestly.
yeah,
Like, to me, I gotta be honest with you, I cannot answer that question you gave me about liking the designs because they, okay, I see there are obviously differences. They're very different. Like here, all the summons look a bit more grimy, but I'm not. I like them, but they're not that different to me. They're different enough for me to say, oh, I like these designs over others.
yeah, yeah.
So I cannot. Yeah,
Do you?
Phoenix was cool. There's a lot of detail in
Yeah,
his little
yeah,
wings.
he
Yeah.
does look cool. But see that one of my complaints of the franchise in general, and not really complaints, it's just more of a personal thing, is that you can't use your summons like you want to, right? Like I'm not saying I have to
Yeah. Right.
use Shiva every time I get into a battle with like a few like more balls or something. Like if I'm fighting a more ball, it's not like I have to like immediately summon
Hmm.
Shiva or anything. But it'd be nice to be able to have that option to be able to summon a little bit more. Do you think this is a good substitution for that? Like being able, like it's kind of like a tackle Titan thing where
You being the summon.
yeah, like even though you
Oh,
can't use it willingly, right? You can channel that power, but you can't really turn
well,
into these icons.
well.
You know,
I guess it works. What works is that they took off the randomness of it. So in 7 remake, they played with the thing that summons can only be summoned during certain fights under certain conditions. Well, here is just on certain fights you have to summon, and that's it. And the summon plays very similarly to your main character,
hmm
and they're more really of a cinematic spectacle than anything else.
hmm
I guess it's okay. I think that's I'll take it because honestly, I know that you would like to be able to summon more, but honestly, I don't think it works anymore because in older titles you could, but it's because the summons were very bare bones. It was like one attack that took a shit ton of MP, and that was
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Here, like summons are way more intricate, right? They got their own moveset, they got their own everything. But in 7 remake and in 16, 15 doesn't have any excuses. 15 they were just normal regular ass attacks. But yeah, I think I'm okay with it because honestly, yeah, as much as it's fun in 7 to summon Behemoth to kill 2 frogs. That is fun. You have the goal animation, which is throwing like a fucking laser beam into outer space. It's God. Is there a no? There's not a summon animation. I was thinking of Sephiroth's final attack where he destroys planets.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to see that in the remake. Dude.
Yeah, I think honestly that's me too. That's an interesting like thing you said about like as far as the summons go. I get what you're saying. Like you kind of in today's tech, it's kind of like all right. For instance, like and you know me, like I'm a strong advocate for 7 remake, rebirth, like that entire story. I can't wait to see it unfold and modern gen. Like I'm ready to see it. But like with the summons, right? And I know they have a little bit of a backstory as to why they exist and things like that. But one thing I like about 16 is they do give you a real like lore and stuff that makes a whole lot of sense. It's really intricate about the dominance and why they exist and and all this stuff. They really explain why they are even a thing, right? And other Final Fantasy games, I know they have a little bit of lore themselves. I'm not taking anything away from what came before, but in 7 remake, do they really explain? Like you just all of a sudden you just get summon materia. You know what I mean? It's like I don't even know if it's really like any story behind that. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of an old school thing, right? When you don't question, it's kind of very video gaming. You just accept that these godlike beings exist, and you also get to wield their power. That's it's kind of ridiculous. And I agree. But I do like that they contextualize it here.
Yeah, they do. Like in 15, right? And refresh. It's been a while. Maybe you don't remember, but
I know it less than you. They do play a role.
They do play a little bit of a role. They called them. Do they call them guardians? Is that the word they use for it? Or something like that?
They call that in 8, but I don't know if they call them.
Oh, okay, not 15. Yeah, the 15. I don't know what they call it. Yeah,
I think that in the original, like in Japanese, right? They're almost always called summons, but in translation, they start calling them all these weird names. Like in 13, they were eidolons or something like that.
Yeah, they're called something different in 15 as well, but I don't remember what it was.
I haven't touched 15 since 2017. When was that?
Shit. Yeah, there's a quest
6 years.
Yeah, there's a quest that I remember that you had to get. So in order for you to get the summon of Ramuh, you had to fight Behemoth. You had to kill Behemoth, get one of these like moon shards, and collect 2 more. And after you collected all of them, then you were able to summon Ramuh. I believe that I do remember there was a quest like that, but I don't remember the reasoning why they exist. Because if you look at the planet of like that, the world of what they call it, is it Helios? No, it's not Helios. It's
I don't know.
Anyway, it looks very modern to me. It looks like kind of like how our society would be, right? There's cars, there's shops, there's things like honestly, it looks a lot like America. It looks a lot like here. It does. Like where I am, and like I don't know, and I know you don't really like that game. I think I like it a bit more than you do, but I don't. I feel like there's got to be more because everything looks so modern. Everything looks so like real, and then you just have these larger than life gods that just appear out of nowhere. And nobody freaks out about it.
Well, I think I said on record multiple times that the lore of that game is a rabbit hole that you do not come out of. Like you gotta consume so much media to get an understanding of what's going on there. I guess yes, probably there is an explanation.
Yeah,
but I'm not. I don't think I'll find that out in this lifetime.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I really like. I didn't even really want to get into it like that. I was just. It is kind of funny to me, because the way that environment is and the way that world is very. It's very normal.
There's like a metropolis. There's like a fucking I know, with like skyscrapers and everything.
Yeah, and then you just have these big ass gods, and nobody's reacting to it.
I mean,
That's
I
wild.
agree.
That's wild to me. Anyway,
That's really wild.
and it's also too. It's hard to believe that as nice as the Regalia is, it just breaks down like that. Like that's such a nice
Oh
ass
yeah.
car, and it just like fucking gives out. You know what I mean? Like, are you kidding me?
Even better once he gets wings. Trying to land that shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Speaking of vehicles, a sidebar. I was on my way to work yesterday morning,
Uh,
and I hit a deer on the way in to work.
oh my god.
And I was fine. I'm unscathed, but I hit a deer like head on because I was like coming around this curve and I was going the speed limit and I saw him on the side of the road. And like as soon as I saw him, I hit my brakes. Well, as soon as I hit my brakes, he jetted across the road and I hit him square on. I hit him so hard that he got hit and he flipped off the side of the road. And I thought my car was screwed up, so I get to work and
What
like
about the deer?
I don't know. It could be dead. I don't know.
Well, was it lying there, or did it get back up?
I don't. It was pitch black outside, Jan. I have no idea. I
Okay,
was I
okay,
was
all
going
right.
into work at like, I think this was like
Mhm.
4:50 in the morning. Like I was like, it was super
Oh,
early.
okay. Sorry, I didn't know you
Um,
got that early.
so yeah, so I don't know, but yeah, he fucked up my car bad. Like, well, it's my wife's
Oh
car. I was
yeah.
driving in my wife's car.
Yikes.
And it like busted my fender up. It like, and my door won't open all the way. And of
Oh my
course, this
god.
happens like over here in the States. The 4th of July is coming up in a couple days, so it's
Oh,
just
that's
hard.
true.
It's really hard to get like people to get on the phone and help you out with claims and everything. So anyway, that made me think of it talking about the Regalia and like how that's such a nice car and for it to be broke down on the side of the road. And then you got my car over here getting destroyed by a deer just running out in the middle of the road. But
Well, I'm curious, what's the issue with the 4th of July and getting things done? Like people are out there celebrating or
I
getting ready
think
to
I
celebrate?
think it's just really hard to have good customer service, like in general, like with like call centers are ridiculous. Like with my insurance company, I'm trying to call my
Uh,
insurance company to
I mean,
file a
that's
claim.
everywhere, really.
Yeah, so I filed a claim online through the app on my phone, but they said that an agent will reach out to you shortly, and I'm still waiting for that phone call. And it
How long has it
happened.
been?
It happened yesterday, but it
Oh,
happened
I
during the
mean,
weekend. It happened during the holidays, so I'm probably going to be on the phone a little bit tomorrow and probably Wednesday because then Tuesday is July 4th, so you might as well forget it. So it's like it's just a whole
mhm, mhm.
whirlwind of stuff. When it happened, I was ticked off for like 5 minutes, and then I just kind of got over it. But it's one of those things like that happens. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah,
have to
it
I have to
sucks.
I have to commute to work every week an hour away to go to work. So it's one of the things that I
That
gotta.
sucks.
Yeah,
Have you got a bag away car at least? A backup car?
yeah. We got two
Okay.
car we got two cars. We should be fine. It's worrisome because like when one and it's like the car that got hit that I ran into with the deer. It still runs fine. It's still good, but it's just it's unfortunate because it's gonna cost us some money and it is
Oh
what
damn, that sucks.
what it is. But anyway, it sort of made me think of that. It was just when it happened, I couldn't stop, and I hit that deer, and the deer went flying, dude. I did see that. The deer went
That's
flying
horrible.
across the road, dude. I don't know how it is. I don't know
It's
how it is where you.
terrible.
I don't know how it is where you're at, but we have an overpopulation of deer where we are.
Uh, oh yeah. Well, I mean,
It's
I live in a
terrible.
pretty urban area, so
Okay, so you're probably good,
there,
dude.
yeah, I don't see a lot of animals
Dude,
driving the road.
it's so bad, because like where I work at, I mean, I work pretty much like deep down in the country where I am,
Oh
and
yeah, in
I
the
mean
sticks, huh?
they're everywhere, man, and it's so bad, and they're so stupid. They're the dumbest animals on earth. I know you told me that you don't.
Deer in headlights, right?
Yeah, I know you told me
Mhm.
that you're not a very religious person. Not. It's
Uh-huh.
not. It's not that you don't believe in anything, but you're not very religious. But
Go ahead.
if we die and there's a God, right? I'm gonna have some questions for him. Like I get like why deer are here, right? Like for us to eat, but they are the dumbest animals I've ever seen in my life.
So, like,
They run right into headlights. Can you
so what you
explain it
do?
to me?
So what you do is that okay, once you get to the afterlife, right, heaven, whatever that may be, you get settled in first, right, and then after you're accommodated enough, you start asking questions. You go, okay, where the deer at? I got to.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no. Look, all in all, man. Final Fantasy 16 is a good experience, dude. I'm really enjoying it. There's not too many things to really say. We kind of talked about a lot of good things. We talked about a little bit of story. It's a lot of story. We like it. I'm really trying to understand more of it, and I appreciate you filling in some blanks on some things that you think of and that you've seen, because that's good. I need to know that, because I find myself at work right now when when it's dead, like looking up like things about this game and things about the story, because I feel like it's one of those games that's so massive. And as far as story goes, it's very massive in that regard. Maybe not as far as like the world itself, right? Because I think that's where the negatives come in. I think that's where the negatives come in. And I know we both have some negatives. I think we both talked about some stuff. So while we're in the last, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 minutes left of the show, right? What are some true negatives that you could talk about? I know we mentioned some, but that's fine. If we did, you can go back over it. But what are some things that you're not really a fan of? Because we sucked its dick long enough.
Pretty hard, yeah.
So now it's time to
time to kick his balls a bit. Yeah. So okay, so I talked about the side quests, right? Okay. Talk about how I appreciate them, but are boring as fuck. Right. I talked about how certain cutscenes are like way too slow, and honestly, they're pretty redundant. Like I really don't care. Right. Like for as much lore this game has, I really don't need to know about this one character having trouble with their delivery because the chocobo or whatever the carriage broke down, and I really don't care. Honestly, I don't. Right. I mean, I guess it's funny. You did mention it's funny how the guy tries to scam that other guy, but then Cloud shows up, so he gives up and goes, this isn't working. Hey, fucking killer, come over here. I guess it's funny, but honestly, I would rather be doing something else right now. I would rather just be done with it. Okay. And honestly, talking about their side main quests, sometimes the main story makes you do some. They're considered main quests, but they're clearly structured like side quests, right? They're like fetch quests. Not a huge fan of that, mostly because, as I said, they're very. I mean, I guess they are lore building, but they just drag on for too long, and they clearly had a problem with pacing. By the way, the word I was looking for before was pacing. The reason why the cutscenes are so good because the story is paced well mostly, right? So there's a long cutscene. It's usually after a really intense moment, so it works. But close parentheses. But saying that they really have a hard time like pacing those slow side main cutscenes. Side quests. Sometimes there's like a fight for really no reason. Like you're doing something, like you're finding out about how people are mistreated in some village or something, and all of a sudden monsters attack just so you can have something to do because you've been sitting around, talking to people for so long. Right. So that. What else? As you said, the exploration is kind of bare bones. I mean, I'm glad there's not an overworld because I'm sick and tired of open world games. But the dungeons are very short. They're not that open ended. Mostly there's like a little side corner where you can find a chest, and that's about it. The game is incredibly generous with resources. Like before a boss, you get a shit ton of potions. Yeah. Although I do appreciate that if you have a potion and you're already capped on potions, it uses a potion for you. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I like it. But I'm telling you, like, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, I don't need to be babied this much. Where before I get like fucking 5 potions, 4 high potions. I get it. Okay. I never need to stock up, which again comes to the problem of economy. I never need to use that darn shop. I don't need it for new weapons. I definitely don't need it for resources. The only thing that's expensive there, that's worth my money, is the songs that I don't want to buy because I'm afraid that something else. Right, I'm afraid that something else gonna come into the shop that's more useful because songs are really a little just that, and they're so damn expensive. So that, and also, what else is there? I think I said it all. Yeah, for now at least. But see, I may start shitting. I love shitting on Final Fantasy stories, but this one is actually it's good for now, right? It's consistent. It's coherent.
Right.
All the characters are likable for now. It might eventually. I might have to finish it. I might have to take this conversation later when I finish the story
Yeah.
and talk about how much of a cop out the ending is. And but we'll see that later. What about
Yeah.
you?
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, like, obviously, yeah. We're only halfway through. We still got quite a bit of quests to do. We very well could get fatigue. You know, I mean, it can happen. You know what I mean? Like,
That's true. Yeah.
I can under. Here's the thing. What do I think it's gonna happen to you or I? I don't think so, but I can see how people could be like burn out. I can see
I
after a
mean,
while because go ahead. What were you gonna say? Go ahead.
but you keep just keep getting new skills, and every skill is not just a cool skill on its own, but there's a lot of ways you can implement it in your old combos.
Right.
So I think and
Well,
from what I've seen, like the skill wheel, from what I understand, by the end of the game, the whole wheel is going to be filled with icons or icon powers, I guess.
Yeah.
So I I think if you get burned out on this game, then maybe RPGs are not for you. But
Yeah.
yes,
I agree. I think that
go ahead.
I think that what we're looking at is Final Fantasy 16. You know, again, I was watching somebody's podcast about it, and they kind of, they were talking about it, and I think what Final Fantasy 16 does is they really, 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 really want you to focus on the combat. The combat is what they want. That's their bread and butter, like the cutscenes and the combat. That's what they want. That's what they want the most attention to. Because if you notice, like, there's no mini games in this one. There's no mini games.
Oh,
There's
that's true. You're right.
There's no other side activities that you can get into. There's really, as far as variety when it comes to missions. Now, I argue with people about this a lot because when you talk about variety in main quests, right? Like one of my favorite games of all time is Red Dead Redemption 2. And we've had this conversation a billion times. In that game, you get on your horse, you go somewhere, you shoot, you get back on your horse, you go back to camp, you get back on your horse, you go shoot some people, you get back on your horse, you go back to camp. Like, literally, that's the game. The story, right, is so good that the gameplay is so tight. You're like, I can do this for 50 hours, right? But so I don't think that's exactly a good criticism because I was hearing people say that about this game. Like, all it is just combat. You go back to your hideaway, you go back out, do combat, you do cutscenes, and rinse and repeat. But I'm thinking to myself, like, what game doesn't do that, right? Their games do that all the time. It's about what you find fun. Is it worth your time doing the combat? For us, I would say, yeah. I like the combat enough, and I want to get better at the combat that I want to do it because I get excited when I'm able to fight. Like when I'm able to go out into these semi-open sections. I stayed the first semi-open section that you get to in the game. I stayed in that section. It's right before you go to Martha's Keep. It's like right before you get there. You got to go across the bridge. In that first area, when you get to that first, I forgot what they call it. What are those blue icons on the map called that you can fast travel to? Obelisk or something like that.
Obelisks.
Yeah. The first obelisk you go to, and it goes to that semi-open world before you take that bridge to go to Martha's Keep. I stayed in that section for like an hour, just fighting shit because I was like, okay, this is what I wanted. Like I didn't want an open world, but I was like, I finally, because it was so linear up to that point. And so like I was really into that. So I think if you're really into the combat like we are, I am into it. I think again, like we talked about at the beginning of the show, I do like the 7 remake battle system. I do like that a lot better. I like having the control a bit better. I like being able to control my party members. I like the customization when it comes to materia. I think those things are very, very missed. I will say that. However, the creators and the developers of this game, Square Enix, and who the people that took control of this, right? The people that worked on Final Fantasy 14, who worked on Devil May Cry, these people, these big players in the development of this game, they told everybody before the game came out that this is not like any other Final Fantasy before, as far as when it comes to combat, when it comes to story, and everything else. They've straight up said this is an action game. So the people that complain about the repetitive nature, about the combat, I'm sitting here like, if you play a game like Devil May Cry, right? That game is nothing but combat. There's not like there's I don't think so. I'm not a Devil May Cry like fanatics. I don't know all the games, so I apologize if that's not right. But all the ones I have played is just combat, and so I kind of see it from a positive and negative, right? Because I see it as a positive because the combat is fun. There's a lot of things you can do. I mean, like I go back to your gameplay, right? Your gameplay you posted on Instagram. It's a cool gameplay. The one I was telling you about before, where I used Garuda's tornado, where I could suck somebody up into a tornado and then just light them up with fire, and it's like that's sick. But like, and the combat is super fun. However, there is a negative when it comes to the combat can feel samey at times. While you can change it, it's not like there's really a real like class system, and all you have is the combat. So this time, this team really wants you to focus on the combat. If you're not really into that, if you want more to do in this Final Fantasy game, you're going to be disappointed because this is a full-on combat-focused game. It just is. And I think I like that. You like that. It seems like we both like that. But I think also, too, I do prefer those slower moments, and I hate it. I keep going back to 7 Remake because it does have those slower moments where I'm fine with not having combat. I'm fine with just having moments where I'm walking around Midgar, when I'm walking around Sector 7, and I can hear the townspeople talking about the plate that just fell. You know, I'm going over to Sector 5, and I'm, you know, and dealing with the stuff with Tifa. It's like when I go to the slums, right? Like all that stuff. Like I enjoy this moment where I'm just walking through these environments. And Final Fantasy 16, if I can go with the negative, and maybe you don't agree with this, when I'm just walking from places, I kind of find it boring. I'm not going to lie. I do find it boring. I feel like the world is not as lived in as 7 Remake, as hell, even as 15 in some parts. And 15, when you go to, what's that first city you go to? And 15.
The wrong guy.
Sorry, my bad. I'm sorry. The first city you go to in that game, it feels lived in. I hear people talking. There's like a parade going on.
The one with Gladio's sister.
Yeah. Dude, it feels alive when you walk through there. It feels like this is lived in. I don't feel the same way with this. I don't. If that's any negative, and I know I sound super negative right now, I've literally just said I like the game, but I don't feel that it's as alive as I'd like it to be. I think as far as like graphically, I think it looks great. Sometimes it looks a little muddy. Let me ask you this. I know that was a long rant. Let me ask you this. What mode are you playing on, 30 or 60? Performance or fidelity?
Yeah, performance.
I'm playing on fidelity.
I mean, it probably better off because you never hit 60.
That's what I'm saying.
You hit 40 at most, but like my monitor cannot do more than 180p anyway. So
what?
Yeah,
your monitor can do what?
Cannot go higher than 180 HD. So,
100. What's 180 HD? 1080p.
1080.
Got you.
Right, sorry.
You. Okay, I got you.
My bad. Like to me, it's like right. The only thing I'm doing by choosing fidelity mode is removing the little frames that I got more. So.
Right. Okay, I got you. Yeah, like.
But I agree. I would do it if I have like a better quality monitor. I would do that too because it runs on like 40 FPS otherwise.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Like I'm playing on I've had this 4K TV for about 3.5, 4 years. So it's kind of an older 4K TV, but I'm playing it on fidelity because one, like said, the frames were like all over the place for me. Like I was playing in performance mode, and I think I was on my way to the second Mother Crystal, and I had bad frame drops. I mean, bad.
It was bad?
Very bad, dude. It was like stuttering so bad that it looked like it was stop motion. And I was like, yeah, I'm going back to fidelity.
Ooh, I never had that.
And fidelity is a hard 30. I feel like it's not really dropping all that much. But anyway, that's besides the point. Because is that a negative? Possibly. In some people's eyes, yes. In my eyes, I wish it was ironed out a little bit more. But I think with what they've done in this game, I'll let it slide. But all in all, man, and I don't know how you feel, and maybe you don't, and that's cool. Like I want a different opinion. I don't feel like it's as alive as I would like it to be. And like I wish there was more. I do wish there was a little bit more to do. Like I'm not like huge into like the like mini games and stuff. Like I play them. Like when I play The Witcher, I play Gwent, the card game, in The Witcher 3. I in the Final Fantasy 7 remake intermission, right? The game that you can play with everybody.
Yes, I love
Yeah,
it. The Condor,
yeah,
the Condor route.
I
Yes.
enjoy that. I would have liked something like that in 16. Like even if it's like a game of like dice or like some
Hmm.
kind of card game, I think that would have been cool. You know, a fishing
Yeah,
game, right?
probably.
Let me fish, right? Like you can't even get in the water in this game. Let me fish a little
Mhm.
bit. You know what I mean? Like let me fish
Yeah.
off a dock. Like it's just small stuff. It's just small things that I wish that you could do because I think where 16 quote unquote fails is that it's just not as like it's not as customizable in your game. It feels like, all right, let me I'll say this and then I'll let you give your spiel and then we'll kind of wrap it up. But I feel like your playthrough and my playthrough are exactly the same.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
for
feel
sure.
like there's a much variety. Like this like you might tell me of an experience that you had that I hadn't got to yet because you're farther in the game, but I'm gonna get there. You know what I mean? It's not like it's I feel like it's I don't know. Maybe you can say that about every game. Maybe that's what you can say. But I feel like Final Fantasy 16 doesn't have like any kind of variety in how you can play the missions and how you can do certain things. And that's really my main gripe. Other than that, I really I do enjoy the product as it is. I enjoy the game.
I agree with most of what you said. So the Devil May Cry comparison is actually really nice because those kinds of games, yeah, they're games that you can pretty much pick and play anytime. You can just skip on all the
Right.
cutscenes because it's
Right.
just combat, combat, combat. So if you like the combat system, it's a there's a lot of depth to it. Like
Hmm.
every combat encounter is an excuse to either refine your skills or
Hmm.
discover new combos. Use them as little training grounds. And that this game is pretty much the same. So yeah, every time I see a chance of any combat encounter, I'm excited because either get to try a new combo, I get to experiment a bit, or I get to show off some new, some new skill that I unlock.
Hmm.
So I do agree that the game. I haven't realized this until now, but you helped me realize it. Yes, this game is 100% about its combat,
Hmm.
and uh, and I'm kind of all for it because the combat is actually really good.
Yeah. Hmm.
I think all the customization. You say there's no customization. I think there is, and it's in the combat because you do get kind of you do can do choose which abilities you have on your shortcuts and your hotkeys.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna give you a slight spoiler. When you get the uh, fourth
Icon.
icon, you cannot have more than three at once. Between the
Right.
switching ones.
Right.
So you get to there's a little bit more of that. Like your build is a bit different. You cannot have everything all at once.
Hmm.
So I think on that front, there's a lot of customizations. Although I do agree with what you said, and that's kind of what it's been nagging me, but I didn't know exactly what it was when I talked about how you cannot get much different gear from the one you get in the main game. You either get the one from the main game or you craft whatever you can with the materials you've got. There's really no way to get rare materials except
Hmm.
killing bounties.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you said. There's no side activities that help you gain they help you gain something, some kind of advantage on the field. There's nothing like that. There's distractions at best, which are the side quests,
Hmm.
which give you just cash, which you would which you're desperate to spend. Uh, so I do agree that maybe it's a bit the integration of this kind of philosophy, the Zen philosophy, being so much about the combat, doesn't work the best in an RPG.
Hmm.
For now, I'm all for it. I feel like on subsequent playthroughs, I'll just be skipping the cutscenes and all the side quests. I just won't give a shit. I'll just be going from combat counter and combat encounter, and maybe, just maybe, I will get a bit tired of that
Hmm.
because it is a very long game. Maybe a bit too long for its own good. Because Devil May Cry, or I'm saying Devil May Cry, but it can be a Bayonetta, it can be a Ninja Gaiden, it can be any of those. It can be a God of War, one of the classic God of Wars.
Right.
Uh,
Hmm.
which, by the way, I got around to play.
Yeah.
So we can talk about that
I
sometime.
saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that. I've been stalking your
So
page, man. I'm
yeah,
telling you, I'm
nice.
stalking you, bro. I know what you're doing.
I kind of like that. I kind of like that though, because sometimes I kind of wonder about people looking at my page. So I try to, but anyhow, I digress.
Hmm.
So I feel like in those games, if when you want to play them, it's something I do. I just want to pick up and play a quick game. I play those, and you can get them done in like what 5 hours,
Hmm.
if not less.
Yeah,
If you're
something
good
like
at
that.
them, you cannot do it with this one.
Yeah.
because it's a fucking RPG, right? If you skip all the cutscenes, you skip all the side quests, it's gonna take you a while. It's gonna get, okay, from my estimate, at least 10 to 15 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, you can. I guess if you're a speedrunner, there's like a bunch of little tricks you can do. But you know, if you want a casual play, just run through it. There's no way it's gonna be quick. There's
Yeah.
absolutely no way.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree that is a problem. But a problem, it's a downside, which might be more problematic to some players and less to some others.
Yeah.
About the towns not being as lived in, I disagree. I feel like this world is very lived in. I feel like there's a lot of, you get a lot of atmosphere just by walking around and hearing people talk. Um 15's world is fucking barren. I mean, and yes, there are cities. I agree, and the cities are all right. But at least in 16, you know, when I'm walking around, as I get to, there are a lot of little encampments,
Mm-hmm. Right.
refugee camps,
Yeah.
and people talk a lot. People talk. And they keep changing. Mostly in the, you know, as based on your progress on the story, they have different chatter, different gossip. So I disagree on that one. And I kind of like the world that's built here. Is this dark fantasy world?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But with everything else, I hard agree with what you said.
I like it. I like it too. You know, one of the last things I'll say as far as the, um, you know, the world not feeling alive enough. Another thing that I've noticed, and I don't know if you've noticed it too, is I feel like the dialogue between your
Mm-hmm.
companions, you know, when you have
Oh,
Sid
it's
with you,
non-existent.
when you have Jill, they don't say
Mm-hmm.
shit. They don't say anything unless it's scripted. Like, and
Yeah,
that,
I just noticed. Yeah.
one thing that annoyed me about Final Fantasy 15 was that Prompto wouldn't shut the fuck up. Like, I want to ride my chocobo all day. He said that shit so much, bro. Until
Oh,
you actually hook him,
da-
dude. Yeah, dude. And they sometimes they talk too much. You know what I mean? Sometimes they talked a little
Mhm.
too much. But actually, in today, I did enjoy them talking because it does make things feel more genuine and alive. Like I'm not just running around with a bunch of empty NPCs. I'm running around with actual people. I'm running around with people that
Mhm.
actually have thoughts and feelings. And like one thing that I feel like right now I'm really kissing Final Fantasy 15's ass because it has a lot of issues. However, there's some
Mhm.
stuff I do like when you camp at a certain area and like
Mhm.
let's say you'll get up in the morning and Gladio will come up to you and go, "Hey, why don't me and you go for a run real quick while the others are waking up?" And you go with him and you have like a little time with him. You have like I think one instance in particular is you race him like y'all run to see who's
Mhm.
fastest and stuff like that, like little activities. You know what I mean? And
You know what?
I know that's a different type of story. Like Jan, I know what you're about to say. I know it's a different type of story. It's more
No,
cheery.
no,
I
no,
get that, but
no.
I miss those moments, man. It feels like even if Jill came to me and said, "Hey, Clive, how about me and you go pick flowers or something?" You know what I mean? It could
Right.
be a really good moment between Clive and Jill where it's like their relationship feels more romantic to me. Like you
Mhm.
get those vibes. You get those vibes that Clive and Jill got a thing for each other, but and yet at least not where we're at. And maybe you've seen some I haven't, but I
I might
right
have.
I right now the only thing that seemed very not really romantic, but really like a scene that where they grew closer was when they went to visit Clive's uncle
Mhm.
and they're standing at the end of the dock and
Mhm.
Jill says, "If I'm gonna go with you any further on this journey to get rid of the mother crystals, I have to get rid of my demons." And the demon is
Mhm.
the and I can't remember what his name was. You know, the guy who owned her pretty much, who was using Shiva as pretty much
Yes.
as a slave. You know, essentially she wasn't a bearer, so to speak, but they were using her as just to kill people, to eradicate
That's
armies
right.
and stuff like that. So she said that in order for her to move on, she's got to take that person out. That person can't live and her keep going. And I was like, and Clive says to her, "You've been here with me so far. I'll do whatever we need to do." And that felt really good. That was a really good scene with them too, where I felt like, okay, like Clive and her are like this. They, you know, I get it, but I would like to see a moment, kind of like, God, I go back to
I know
seven.
what you mean.
You know what I mean?
I
I
know
go
what
back
you
to
mean. You know
seven.
what?
I talk about seven remake, right? Cloud and Aerith, like Cloud's helping Aerith out, and you know, I like that stuff. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. You know what? I completely agree. I haven't noticed that until now, but you're completely right. Although I do, you know, I'm not a hater. I dislike 15, but I do see the merits. You know, I like the music. and I do like the interaction with the characters. You say prompt about being annoying. I actually kind of like this little banters they have here and there.
Yeah.
While driving in the Batmobile or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They sometimes talk. When you camp somewhere, even before the morning, you had the little cutscene where you cash in your XP. Sometimes they're doing different stuff. Maybe they're playing cards. Maybe we're talking around the campfire. I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I do agree that is sorely missing in 16. Something. What sometimes would happen to me, like I would get to a point of a story, right, when someone would join me, join my party. Let's say Jill, or maybe something's one of those temporary party members, like Gav, right?
Yeah.
And they actually do fight alongside you. But maybe I decide to not do the next story mission, but I do a side quest. At some point, I see Gav fighting by my side. I'm like, shit, that's right, you're here with me.
Yeah, they're so
Because
quiet.
they're so absent. There, I'm like, fuck, that's true. And maybe you don't even need some, very dedicated activities like the ones in 15. In Kingdom Hearts 3, and I can't believe I'm praising that game. No, I'm kidding. I kind of like it. But in Kingdom Hearts 3, when you're in the Kingdom of Corona, when you're walking Rapunzel all the way to the kingdom, right, to the big city, there are these moments that are completely missable, where you can do little things like you're by a lake. It's a little pond. It's more of a pond, and you can. She makes a little comment, and you can use water to like splash her, and she splashes you back, right? Or there's this part where she makes a comment about the birds, and if you walk silently towards the birds, you take one and show it to her. Maybe something like that. That would be nice. Very short, 1 minute long interactions.
Right.
Just to remind me that they are there. I sometimes forget that Jill is in my party. I
Yeah.
see like an ice attack and I get scared because I think it's an enemy's attack.
Yeah.
It's actually hers.
Yeah, yeah. She's just so quiet. The if she just said something, like she just lets you know she was there. I don't know. Like you could nitpick and keep thinking of things, but the overall the package as a whole
great.
is good.
Yeah.
But it's just stuff like that I do miss, and I hope that whatever the idea is, I think the director, the developer, but also the director of this game said that as far as like another numerical Final Fantasy, he doesn't think they really need to exist anymore, like a Final Fantasy 17 or whatever. But I hope if they do decide to do that, maybe they bring a little bit.
Oh, he said that they're not doing any more sequels.
I think he said he just feels like giving them a number is stupid. Like it's kind of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he just says that at this point, like if they're gonna have another Final Fantasy sequel, that's fine, but don't call it like Final Fantasy 16. Call it, whatever else. But I'm fine with it. But I just hope that maybe they'll bring back the party system a little bit, bring back a little bit of these really nice, like the moments you said about Kingdom Hearts, things like that. Like you can tell, like Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts are blending together at this point, like with the combat and with the systems. Yeah. So dude, with Kingdom Hearts 4, man. I mean, like I said, we haven't seen much of it, but just that gameplay sequence, that's straight up Final Fantasy to me.
I'm never talking about that. You don't even know. So Kingdom Hearts 3 has like this DLC you haven't played, which has a whole secret boss. And if you defeat him, it ties Kingdom Hearts 3 to Versus 13.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you remember? Yeah, pretty much what they did. They did a Nomura. They did a total Nomura. What happened is that you fight this character, like classic. How in every Kingdom Hearts game, mainline, you have a secret boss, which is more of a hint for things to come. Like in Kingdom Hearts 1, you can fight Xemnas. You don't know that he's Xemnas, right? Yeah, that kind of stuff. So Kingdom Hearts 3, you fight this guy, right? And he's kind of very cryptic. You don't know who he is. And then, after you beat him, whether you beat him or not, you actually get a cutscene if he beats you. You get a cutscene of him in a car, and it's pretty much a recreation of one of the first trailers of Versus 13. That in the background is Insomnia. The driver asks him the same thing. So yes, they are literally crossing paths, blending together.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, if that's the future, then that's the future. But I think that I'm along for the ride, man. 16 is doing great. I know it's selling well, and all in all, I know I said something about some frame rate issues, but all in all, man, it runs well. And I'm actually curious. I know
the loading times are crazy.
Yeah, dude, it's
Those are
nuts.
insane.
I would like say like I know we're kind of getting near the end of here, so we'll have to wrap it up. But I would like to do at least a segment of an episode with you talking about
Final
like,
thoughts.
well, yeah, final thoughts. But I think also like this current gen hardware, can
Hmm.
it keep giving us 60 FPS experiences? Because as of late, we haven't
Kind
really
of isn't. Yeah.
it hasn't really been that way. I played Jedi Survivor for a lot of it on fidelity. I tried on performance, but it looked muddy as hell. So I wanted to play it where it looked a little bit better. Final Fantasy, same way. Like I'm playing on performance sometimes, but fidelity is where I'm at. So I'd like to do an episode really just talking about, you know,
Sure.
about like maybe even do like a segment, and then maybe that's something we talk about on our next show, right? Our next show, episode 28, we're bringing on Emma for Once Upon a Quest. She'll be on. She's been playing Uncharted, The Last of Us walkthroughs on her channel. She just got to the big death in The Last of Us Part Two, and
Oh.
she was pretty
Mhm.
upset about it. So I'm curious to see see her talk about it, open up a little bit more about it. Um, but maybe that's something we can come into conversation. I know we're kind of running out of time now, but can these consoles give us 60 FPS as they get bigger, right? Because look how big 16 is as far as these cutscenes and what
Mhm.
it can do. I can't believe people's PS5s were like burning up from playing this game. I'm like,
Oh yeah, I remember
do you
that.
not clean your shit? Do y'all not dust out your stuff or anything? Like, I've not had that problem not once with any games I've played. I've had my shit for damn near like launch, right? Like I got mine like a few months after launch because it took me a while to get them in the States. I couldn't find them. I know you couldn't find them where you were at. So like my shit is not burned up at all. My system doesn't run hot or anything from playing this game. So I'm
Never
like, what the
has.
fuck
No.
are y'all doing? What are you doing with
Yeah,
your
probably
consoles?
they're just not cleaning. I'm guessing. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that can get stuck in it. Like you have a pet, that stuff, that pet for real gets in there. Or if you're a smoker, man,
Yeah.
that this shit really has some side
Yeah.
effects.
Yeah,
So
which I understand, but still, like, I mean, like, it almost comes down to like, are they? I mean, what? I don't know. It just seems like they're
I mean, yeah,
breaking
you
this stuff,
cannot
man.
miss. Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah, you cannot not what do you say? Not take care of your things and
Yeah,
then be mad if they break down, right?
yeah, that's right, that's right. But anyway, well, we'll get ready to close out the show. I mean, but any final thoughts you would like to say about the game? I mean, I know we're not going to talk about Final Fantasy 16 at least for another episode. We may talk about it a little bit next, but I don't believe Emma's playing it, so I might try to avoid the conversation next week. But I'd love to get back and at least finish up the ending
Mhm.
with you and talk about the game. So, as far as right now, what are some final thoughts about 16? Some things you're looking forward to, and whatever else before we talk about it again a show or so from now.
I'll just say that I'm. If they keep going like this, if they keep taking risks, making just bringing out cool ideas and fleshing them out like this, fleshing them out part is very important. I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for whatever they bring. Numbered or not, even though I would like them to be numbered, just to differentiate spin-offs from main titles. But do whatever you want. It's your
Yeah,
franchise. I don't
it'd
care.
be it'd be cool to one day have like a Final Fantasy 20, right? Like that's just
25. I was
crazy.
thinking about that. Like, come on. Final Fantasy
Yeah,
20, it could be like a milestone.
yeah, that'd be
Then you can
cool.
stop. Or Final Fantasy 30, Final Fantasy XXX, and make it, very erotic.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Mhm.
good. Let's do that. Let's do that. That's good. Yeah, I think I'm with Jan. I think that I like the direction of the game. I like the world building. I do like the story. The cutscenes are not. They might be long, but they're very good. I
They're
enjoy I
good.
enjoy what they're present. They're very
They
cinematic, super cinematic, and not just
they
called
are
they're called
Kino. That's
cinematics,
what they
but
are.
yeah, it's
And
it's
that's what the
really
kids say.
it's really yeah yeah it slaps it's fire
It's
yeah it's yeah it's really good, and the production value is through the roof, man, through the roof. So I
Agreed.
think I really like it. I think the combat is great. It's expansive. Maybe not in the way that most RPG people would want. However, I think I'm along for the ride, man. It sounds like we're both loving it. So anyway, with that being said, man, I'm disappointed to say I think we're going to have to end it right here. I could probably talk about this game for another 30, 45 minutes. I have some
Wow.
family over. We cooked out today, so I don't want to keep them waiting too long. We actually got somewhere to be in about 15 minutes. But thank you guys for coming on the show as usual. Me and Jan really appreciate it. And real quick, I just want to say thank you guys for subbing to the channel. We're up to 70. Hold on. Let me get a check here. I'm pretty sure we're up to 74 subscribers on YouTube.
Damn, nice.
We've made a huge jump in the past few months. I remember we were at 52 subscribers, like maybe at the start of the year. So that's really, really good. So I thank you guys for watching these after. I thank you guys for coming and checking out the videos. I've been working really hard on those, and more to come. Tomorrow we're doing a Dead City, The Walking Dead episode 3 breakdown episode video. So that should be good. On July 16th, we'll be back with episode 20 of the Deadhead Podcast with Emma from Once Upon a Quest. She's been doing a lot of cool playthroughs on her channel. I might put all her information in this description or comment section of this video. And yeah, we got a lot of stuff to look forward to, man. And we'll definitely be finishing up our Final Fantasy 16 conversation with the next episode or so.
Sure.
I got a feeling I think we should probably have this wrapped up in like 3 weeks. I would think, as far as the game goes.
Oh, I would hope. Damn.
I would hope so too. But with everything going on with what but anyway, it's been a good show. Thank you guys for watching as always. And unless Jan has anything else special he wants to say to everybody, I think we're gonna get on out of here.
Yeah, no, let's call ass. I'm pooped. Let's do it.
All right. Well, stay dead, my friends. We'll see you in the next one.